go.
Yeah, we're good.
No,
man, that's good. I want to hear all about your prep. That's the whole point of bringing you
Yeah.
on. You're 6 weeks out, right? Is that 6 weeks now?
Actually 5.5. So
5.5 weeks. Okay, so yeah, you're
down to
5.5 weeks out of the New York Pro, and
yeah. I'm like Todd. I'm so like 5.3. If you want to get exact. So those days matter.
So you're at this point now. You're within striking distance. Like you said, you're to a point now where you can kind of play with it. You can have a low day and a high day, or a low, a medium and a high day, a refeed day, and there's somewhere wherever you need to. And it's not going to be that's the fun part, right? When you get close and you know you're within striking distance and you're pretty much ready to go already. It's just a matter of getting your weight right. Yeah. Where you have a chance to play with the diet and see what you can do, you know, because you're only going to get better at that point, right?
Well, I think and for some reason with my shape and my structure, I look better as I get less weight on me.
Yeah.
Like some guys, they need to be heavier and look rounder and fuller. When I start losing weight, that's when the shape really starts popping. I guess you want to say.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Oh, really?
You know, I'll look like a fucking sack of potatoes in the off season, you know, just big. And as I start to come down to shape, it's like you didn't even know that shape was in there until you get down to where you're close, and it's like, oh, okay. And then it just keeps getting better and better and better. The lighter and the leaner I get, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, like I don't get stringy. I don't get stringy, right? There's no such thing. I can eat 1,500 calories a day and do a couple hours of cardio and starve to death. Yeah. And I don't even my flat doesn't look flat. I've told people, I'm like, man, I'm flat as shit. And they're like, no, you don't look flat. You just look rounder. I'm like, but this is flat for me. Is I have no energy. The muscles might be round, but they're soft as fuck right now, and they feel soft. And then all of a sudden, I fill up. It doesn't take but a couple 100 grams of carbs, and I'm like, right back again. You know,
you're like ready to train. And
I'm ready to go. So,
that's a glycogen. You know, that's just glycogen, and then your body's deprived.
You know what it is? It's all the years of fucking heavy, hard training. Mm-hmm. Right? That muscle doesn't go anywhere. Like the people that wither away, I think when they get flat. Yeah. Are the people that don't have, like, I would say, like solidified round muscle from years of hard training. They're more dependent upon that amino acid and glycogen transport in the muscle. They have more like what looks like puffed air muscle, right? It goes like this all the time, and it's constantly getting,
you could see,
volumized, right? Whereas somebody who's just got dense muscle,
right?
It does. I mean, it may get to the point where it looks a little bit softer, but the density and the roundness isn't going to go anywhere. It's there. And the only difference is you get a little more vascular and a little harder looking when you fill up.
And you ask them too, like, what's your weight? And they're like 252, and you're like, you're probably 210. Like probably 210 on stage. You're like, that's not your weight.
Right.
Yeah. But if you ask a guy that's like 230 and you're like, you know he's gonna get down to like 218 and he's solid. And that's it.
Right. Exactly. So how's it been going, man? How is the prep treating you so far?
Dude, this prep is, I think we started in April. It's February 14th. So it's been 6 weeks on diet, but my carbs have been like steadily like 300 across the board. And now we're starting to
play around
these like 50 carb days, and cardio is getting increased to an hour today on stairs, which I'm like, I go into like Kevin LeBron mode. Like I want it, like let's push the hardest days, and I want to get to those. I don't even care about the food. Like at this point, I just want to be fucking peeled out of my mind. Like, and that was the difference. I think before last prep, I just wanted to eat, when's my refeed? And, that's great. But after you eat, you're like, you don't see the difference. You want to get peeled first. Right. And then start seeing results.
Yeah. Well, then a little bit of food makes a big difference.
Right. And then he told me in Atlanta when we did Chicago Pro, he's like, stop worrying about eating, dude. Like I kept telling everybody like, hey, it's been 3 hours and we're at Whole Foods shopping for food. I'm like, dude, we got to stop and eat at the cafe. And they're like, don't worry about fucking eating, bro.
You're fine.
We're with the coach now. He's looking at you. You're fine. And I'm like, no, it's been 3 hours. We got to eat. And they're like, dude, just, do you want to win? They're like, yeah. They're like, then just shut up.
Shut up and do sense.
Yeah. So, right. I mean, I'm just a natural fat ass. That's what it is. I can attest to that. So,
so you got, is New York in 5.5 weeks? Is there another show after that, or is it you're just gonna see how that one goes first?
We want to go in. I think our plan is to go in there with that show only, and then get a qualifier, the pro show. I mean, win the pro show. Mm-hmm. And if somebody comes in a lot tighter and harder and beats us, then I think there's a show in Bahamas in June. I want to say somewhere third week of June. And then I know there's a show in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and that's muscle contest. Might be in June or July.
Okay.
But those aren't planned. So I haven't even bought a plane ticket for that shit. I'm just buying a ticket to Florida. You know, kind of like how Sergio was with me. He did New York Pro. Like, I'm going to buy a ticket there. I don't even have money to get a ticket back unless I win. You know, like, that's like my goal. Yeah. I really, that's our plan. And then I don't want to be a point guy, you know, like stack up all these points and then I make the Olympia. Because that's just, what is that? That doesn't mean anything. Because if I get there, they know I'm just there for points. It's not going in there as a top guy. So
you want to win and solidify a spot.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Todd, how many shows do you have planned this year?
I'm very much the point guy.
but you're a rookie though. So I
mean, I was planning on losing Chicago and then getting some points, losing the next show, which would be Tampa 2 weeks later, and then if they'll let me into Canada, losing Toronto.
Okay. you could actually. you could do Canada because I think they're letting us go in there, right?
Well, I called the promoter a few months ago, and he said, "Don't bother because, you know, they're going to want to quarantine you for 2 weeks before you get on stage after you enter the country."
Oh, so you got to get there 2 weeks prior.
I have to basically get an Airbnb in Toronto for 3 weeks. And then do like arm circles and run in place, like for like the dude did in Korea for fucking weeks straight.
Yeah. Samson Duda or whatever.
I forget his name. Yeah, he had to like do push-ups and pull-ups.
He had bands and he was doing pull-ups in the door frame.
You know what's that thing? We'll get that band that's like really hard to you know, you step on it and you can do all those movements. You can do fucking drugs. You can do,
you do everything. Get the 100-pound band.
That's just what I need is to teach myself how to work out when I'm 3 weeks out.
So Chicago's 16 weeks away or something.
Yeah, I think I'm 17 weeks or 16 weeks out.
Yeah, 16.
I'm waiting for my gut to pull the trigger on dropping sugar. So it's kind of like I'm like Piccolo in Dragon Ball, in that like we're keeping my weight up by doing hundreds of grams of sugar a day. Really? And it's like when I want to drop, all I'm going to do is just stop in consuming sugar. And I know that the fat's just going to fall right off.
He'll be ready in 4 weeks.
Yeah. What kind of like dextrose or what? Just straight?
You know what? It's funny you asked that because no one's ever asked me that. I switched from Domino sugar to dextrose because
dextrose?
I think Evil Genius said something like you can only process 40 grams of fructose a day
per serving.
Yeah, before it starts converting into fat. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get more of an insulin response and less fat conversion if I switch to dextrose. So I ordered some dextrose like I used to do back in like 2010 when I made my own supplements at home. And it was like I immediately started getting fuller and harder and leaner without changing my calories just by switching from table sugar to dextrose.
Well, I know I used to work with Matt Porter, and he used to get like the big bottles of dextrose, and he would do like 100-gram dextrose shakes when he was in like off season, and that would be his like carbs because he couldn't eat like a lot of food. So
I'm not eating any solid foods. What I do is I do 6 ounces of chicken, 2 cups of rice, 50 grams of dextrose, 30 grams of sucrose. And I put it in a blender with some Battle Mead, my invention for carb loading intra workout. And I do that. 3 of those shakes a day comes out to be about 3,600 calories. And then I usually have a cheat meal every day. Like today is a pizza with wings. and I do this every day. I hit about 4,500 to 5,000 calories every day, including rest days with insulin, and I'm barely holding weight at 213.
I would weigh 300 pounds.
Wow.
And it wouldn't be good.
Now, and you're staying, because you can see your shoulder, you're staying pretty lean then.
I'm pretty lean right now. I actually allowed all my body hair to grow out on my chest and my abdomen so that I look fat and gross, so I don't get like too comfortable. And then the idea is once I start my diet, I'll start shaving off the ab hair one strip at a time each week so that I can see my abs come in slowly rather than all of them.
I'm so glad I'm not like, I don't have any like excessive hair, just on my back and then my butt from doing the shows. Mm-hmm. So like my wife's like, you have the hairiest back, but no hair anywhere else. I'm like, that's because of the competing, because we have to shave our back and the glutes and all that shit.
I'm hairy everywhere because I'm Italian, so we just grow hair for no reason. It just grows, except for on my head. That's all gone. Everything like fell. I can grow a great beard.
You can grow hair here.
And I'm like a chia pet the rest of my body. So
with me it's a straight strip. So like my beard is like on my chest and then it's on my stomach too.
Yeah.
You're like a Viking. Like a Viking.
That's what he's Thank you. That's great.
Are you gonna keep your hair when you do your show on your beard?
I was thinking about that this morning. It's like I don't know how it would influence the way my physique looks. You know,
kind of powerful.
I think it depends on how emaciated I look. Like if I get down to 3 or 4% and I look shredded, but I look flat, then the beard's going to look bigger than the rest of me. And but if I can stay full and round, then the beard will actually look beastly rather than comical.
I don't think judges would go, man, that beard's just
I've heard it both ways. I've heard they don't care. Right. They don't really care. You can do whatever you want. Facial hair. And then I've heard others where they're like, it's distracting.
Yeah.
And it takes away from everything because we can't stop looking at your beard to look at your physique. Like, the people that go out with a fucking mohawk that's colored and shit.
Yeah.
Or the girl competitors that go out and they've got bright red hair, that's true. That's, it ends up being distracting a lot of times. So I don't know if that's an NPC thing. Or if the IFBB judges don't care. They just don't care.
I think the point is I'm new and they don't know who I am. So I think I'll be overlooked if I don't have the beard.
Right. Yeah. Remy has always told me to shave your beard off. He said, shave your beard off. He said, it's going to be too distracting. He said, the goatee is fine. He said, but even last year, he's like, shave your beard. I'm like, okay.
No. I was gonna put on eyeliner and put braids in it and skulls dangling.
Get some kiss makeup.
What if I shave the side and get a tattoo of a wolf here and a dragon there? But if Ramey says
fighting on your forehead.
No, the lightning bolt.
I mean, you would definitely be the talk of the show.
You would definitely get recognized.
You would be the talk of the you'd be on Instagram for all that shit.
So here's the thing is, where do you make money from? It's not from the $1,000 for second place or the $500 for third place. It's from having everyone bitch about you on Nick's Strength and Power.
And you could have your OnlyFans purchase that.
There you go.
Your OnlyFans. There you go.
I would rather have them purchase my products, but
Todd gets an OnlyFans. I'm getting rid of the internet.
No, if I had an OnlyFans, it would be me throwing flaming axes at a tree or something. I wouldn't It wouldn't be anything inappropriate.
Oh God,
that is crazy.
My OnlyFans would be giving actual gear advice that I can't get pulled off of liberal YouTube with.
So Austin, How are we looking as far as your training goes? Has anything changed? Do we?
Yeah,
you at the point now where you're like you kind of have to play it safe now.
No, but you know what, Keith? I actually I had my hips been killing me, dude. My mom has this hip problem, so I don't know if it's genetics or I'm not going crazy on squats like Todd. I saw him doing like
you
7
don't need
weights
to
on incline or the Smith machine.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, dude, I'm like sitting on the toilet and I feel that like the pain in just my inner hip.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going to this guy at the Dragon's Lair. You guys got to go.
Yep.
At Flex's gym.
I was going to ask you about that,
dude. It is the best gym because it's all Arsenal equipment, and it's all the top pros. So it's like kind of like Venice, where you get that California, everybody's training hard.
It's the new Venice. I was just gonna say it's the new Venice.
New Venice.
The modern Venice. Yep.
Yeah, and Flex Lewis is there. I mean, and he talks to everybody. So, he's. I mean, like to have advice from him and to come up to you and be like, dude, you look great. Keep training hard. Like you're like, oh fuck yeah, So
right. But
there's a guy there that does therapy. He has that new fit machine.
Dom. You're talking about Dom?
Dom Pelosi.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been doing like a lot of that nerve stimulation, and then he has like a the Graston tool.
Yep.
Like you rub it on. His vibrates. It already does it for you, and he literally barely touches you, and it just like you feel it. I mean, it vibrates pretty fast. So he's been activating my hip and then my knees. I'm not even like literally squatting over 405, and my knees have been killing me lately.
Right.
But luckily, I have really dominant legs, so I could literally do lunges and leg extensions and maybe a leg press with a slow tempo, and my legs will blow up. I mean,
they stay the same. Yeah. You genetically blessed with just monster, disgusting legs, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
You could probably not train them for a month and you'd be okay.
Legs and elbows.
I literally, just doing air squats, and my legs will be like pumped. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be cocky.
I know. That you posted that picture the other day of your quads, and I'm like, Jesus.
I know. And then that's after doing Stairmaster cardio, whatever.
Right.
Like my training though is like it's weird because last prep, Justin wanted me to do a lot of like. It was like 1 day a week to hit arms, shoulders, have a shoulder day, an arm day. But lately I've been doing more of like a push, pull, arm, legs.
Right.
Kind of like I've been watching like Hunter and those guys. They do a lot of progressive overload. But I noticed you get a 5 day, it's a 5 day split or the 5 day count before your next arm or chest day. So you're getting 5 days between and you're getting 1 day off. It's a lot more taxing on your body.
Yep.
And then that 1 day that you're going to hit it, I usually go straight crazy that first day. And then the second session, like after 5 days, is more of a moderate pump. But I feel like you get more done with that than just doing 1 day a week. Right. The 1 day a week is more, I don't know. I think that's more off season because you're not, I don't know. You're there for 1 day and it's like for prep, I think you need to hit it more because you get more out of it. I don't know.
Well, especially once the food starts getting lower and you're doing a lot of cardio because your energy levels are pretty insufficient at that point. So it's like go hard for a short amount of time and then do it again later in the week, right?
Yeah.
So more frequency.
Kind of like a touch up, but you're still getting a pump and you're still pressing weight, but it's not like the first day where you're going all out 100%.
Right.
You know, failure. But like a 5 day split. So it's pretty, I like it. And then, I'm really going to like it when he starts adding food in on like a pull day. Cause then I know that food's going to help me get through that workout. So
I actually do something similar. So right now I'm 5 days a week. It's everything once. And then there's a couple little touch up spots for like smaller muscles that I know are stubborn. Like I'll hit arms twice.
Oh yeah.
I'll hit an arm day and then I'll hit biceps after chest with like one movement and I'll hit triceps after shoulders with one movement.
Right.
Rear delts get done twice. Hamstrings get done twice. That kind of stuff. Calves get done twice. But I usually end up somewhere around that 6 to 8 week mark going to, it's kind of like a push, pull, legs, arms, but it's chest and shoulders, back, legs, arms. And I rotate it similar where I'll train as many days in a row as I can before I need a day off. Like if I need a day off, I take the day off. So if I can hit 6-7 days in a row and just push it through, I'll push it through and then I take a day off.
You do that at that point with cardio?
Because at that point, the progressive overload goes out the window. You're not going to overload and get a lot stronger after you're 8 weeks out and you're on limited food at that point. So it's more or less just maintaining your strength and still training as heavy as you can through that entire thing for like 1 or 2 moves. And then the rest is just like, push some blood in the muscle, get a pump. And as soon as you get a pump, you get the fuck out. Cause at that point you're done. Yeah. Anything more than that, is
you want to go home
counterproductive.
You want to go home and go eat.
Get your second session of cardio done, go home and eat. Yeah.
Oh, so are you breaking up? You're doing 2 cardio sessions during that?
I end up having to. I always do, because the first one will go 45 minutes to an hour. So if I want to get any more in, I've got to do it twice. There's no sense of me doing an hour and a half of cardio all at once.
That's too much.
But we're only at 20 minutes right now, so we're doing pretty good. And I've come down 21 pounds in a few weeks, and literally doing 20 minutes of cardio. Justin pulled it back.
Wow.
This week, he was like, okay, Sunday through Wednesday, we're going to add a fuck ton of food, and the cardio is coming back from 30 to 20, and then we'll see what you look like Thursday. Okay.
He probably wants to speed you up, and then your metabolism will be on fire.
It is. I've been sweating for 3 days straight.
Good.
So I've just been sweating for 3 days. I can't stop sweating. It doesn't matter what I do. I can sit in front of the air conditioning vent. I'm still sweating.
You hungry?
So hungry
right
all day.
Your meal?
All day.
Yeah.
Like within 20 minutes of eating, I'm starving. That's when you know it's going good.
I hate that because we eat it so fast, and it's like that's it. You're like, yeah. And then you're like looking at the clock every like 30 minutes. You're like, shit, when do I eat again? I hate like looking at the clock constantly. When am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? And it's like I'm not even enjoying it when I'm eating it.
Right.
It's like I'm just doing it.
I texted you the other day. I was because I seen you in the back of Dusty's video. You're sitting there shoving food in your face against the wall while him and Tommy were getting worked on by Dom, and here you are in the background, just like shoveling food. I'm like, hey, there he is. You look huge. I couldn't believe how big you are. I was like, he's got to be 240. He's got to be 240. I got to find out how much he weighs.
That was March 27th. So that was
like a week and a half ago.
I think I was for that opening. I kind of was like, dude, I think I told Justin, I'm like, let's deplete for 3 days, and then let's do 1,000 grams 2 days in a row for that for the Dragon.
Just for that, so I can look huge.
Yeah, I was pretty up there, but it was crazy because when we were walking around, I was talking to a lot of the open guys, like Brandon Curry was there, Sean Roden, and most of the guys like Derek Lunsford was there, and a lot of the they were like, "You doing open, right?" I was like, "No, I wish, man." I'm like 230s in the 230s. They're like, "Oh no, Sean Cleary." I saw him, and he's like, "Are you doing open New York Pro?" I'm like, "No, dude. I swear to God, I'm doing 212." And I'm like, but I feel like I could do open, but I would get crushed. This year, I would get crushed. Like
another year, yeah.
Yeah, it would be like I have the width and everything, and the height's there, but the density, these guys, you know what I mean? It's a different level of quality of the density of the muscle. They're not like bigger size. They're just the quality is there.
Yeah.
But I think just another year of training, like hard training, food, and then another year of this shit. I can get that.
How crazy was that grand opening?
Dude, it was nuts because we haven't had like a gathering like that since COVID. I mean, there was a couple shows here and there, but that was like legitimately like an expo, like at the Olympia. Like
that's what it looked like.
Dude,
all the videos I saw, I was like, man, is this the fucking Arnold Expo or something? What's going on? It's like the whole gym is packed.
I like look over and then there's Milos, Neil Hill, fucking, all the main coaches there, Matt Jensen and Brett Welkin, all those guys. I mean, everybody was there. I mean, it was like crazy. Hassan, Raphael, Flex Lewis, those guys are regulars, but I mean, it was like the industry came out big, and it's because of Flex. I mean, that guy's got so much. It's crazy because he has so much, like, he brings everybody together kind of feeling where nobody, like, we talk shit about other coaches and shit, but when we were all there, it was like we're all friends. It was cool. Sure. So it was packed, dude. Packed. Yeah. It was awesome. It was awesome.
It looked like a good time.
You guys should have came out.
Yeah, well, I couldn't make it out. I had work and everything else, and I'm saving all my time off for for Universe, and if I happen to get lucky and turn pro, then I got to save an extra couple of days so I can either go down to Tampa or go to Toronto if that one happens.
Hell yeah!
So
hell yeah. When's the Universe in July? Right.
4th of July weekend.
Oh shit, that's a dope date.
4th of July weekend, and so I've got 12 and a half weeks right now.
Oh, perfect spot, huh? Yeah, you got time.
We're good. I got plenty of time. Yeah, this is the easiest. This is the easiest first couple of weeks of dieting I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Really?
As soon as I cleaned everything up, it just started falling off, and I'm like, "Fuck is going on? This never happens." Like I'll usually lose like 10 pounds, and then it stalemates, and it's like 15, 20. Okay, now we're having to keep the weight higher because Justin's like, no, I've been hesitant to push food up. He said because I know a lot of times you stalemate. He said, but that ain't happening here, so we're gonna push food up now.
How long have you been with Compton now?
This would be my second show. First full off season because I had a few months with him, and then we did a show. So this full off season, I mean, if I didn't put 10 pounds of muscle on, then it looks like I put 10 pounds of muscle on, but I'm pretty sure I put 10 pounds on in an off season. So
don't you hate that? Like,
yeah, well,
you can tell yourself like, I know I put muscle on. I know it's.
Oh, I know I did.
It's there somewhere.
how much is it going to translate on stage? I guess that's because if I come in leaner, my weight may not be that much higher, right? If I just come in like 1 or 2% tighter than what I was, I may be only 3 or 4 pounds heavier. But that 3 or 4 pounds looks 10 pounds heavier. Then what does it matter? What does it matter, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference at that point. So.
And then I talked to like Jay Cutler, man. He's telling me, dude. Because I was like, dude, I can't get over like 265. He's like, dude, do not worry about weight.
Sure.
Weight doesn't mean anything. It's the density and the roundness. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need to get a certain weight. And trust me, that's just a number. Because if you say you weighed 212 at your show last year, and you weighed 215 this year, but like you said, you're way rounder and denser, you're gonna look 230. Like,
yeah, I say if 215 looks 230 or more, then we're good.
Yeah.
Especially at my height.
I mean, any height. Like, the muscle it's like it's an illusion. We don't realize that. But if I told people dude, in Chicago, I weighed on stage like 205.
There's no
it was
way.
So light.
We were sitting there trying to figure out how you make 212. Justin and I are sitting there going, how the fuck does he make 212?
Just wait.
He looks huge.
Wait till you see this year. Like, my upper body has it's
caught
gotten so bigger. Like,
yeah,
I know it has because I train with open guys and they're like, dude, you could do open. Like, why don't you just do open? I'm like, no, it's just not there yet, you know. Yet. But yeah, I know for this show, I'm just gonna I want my legs to be small compared to my upper body, which is crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
But
so who else is in the 212 that's doing the show? Do you know?
I know for a fact John Jewett.
Yeah,
I know he's doing Indie Pro, but I know he likes to do 2 or 3 or maybe 2 in a row. So I know he'll do that. And I was told, I think by one of his one of his clients, they're like, oh yeah, he's doing New York. So I'm like, cool. So me and John again, because we competed in 19 at the Tampa, and he won that show. So and I was like, I was my first pro show. So I was like, fuck. And I got 4th against Zane and Guy Sistarino.
Okay.
And I was just like, fuck. Like, I know I could have got higher. But so it'll be cool to go against John again. And he's at 4th. He got 4th in the world at the Olympia that year. So
yeah, that was a good year for him.
Definitely a good. I know last year he didn't do that good in the Olympia, but this year I think he's going to be on because he looks lean as fuck right now.
Yeah, I seen pictures of him the other day, and I was wondering if he was doing New York or if he was. I knew he was doing Indy. I just didn't know if he was going to do New York too.
Interesting, because if he wins Indy, I wonder if he's going to do New York too. So.
Yeah, well, at that point, what would be the reason? You've already qualified. Shut it down.
Well, yeah, money. You have to pay a lot of money, and then
and
it's worth it to keep going. You know?
Yeah. Is the prize money worth the payout that it's going to cost you to get there? Right.
Right. And then there's Noel. I don't know if you guys know Adema, I want to say. He got 3rd at Chicago Pro when we did it with me and Keon.
Okay.
He's huge. I mean, he's from Mexico.
Okay.
He has big side hamstring shots. He's so freaky. Like, he was an Olympian 2 years ago. So I think he's doing it. Samir Trudy, I don't know if you heard of that cat, from like Sweden or something.
Yeah.
He's doing it. I don't know if Bo Lewis is doing it. He's that guy that won it last year. Big package.
Yeah. Bo Lewis and his huge trunks.
Yeah. I told him, I'm not beating you in that part.
Yeah, we're out with that contest. I'm going to default at that point if that contest comes up.
It will forever beat me in that part. Because I'm my dad's white, my mom's fucking Hawaiian, so I'm not beating you.
I'm not beating. It's not happening.
My dad's Russian. I'm not beating you. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think a lot of guys are. It's not like and that's the thing with 212. Like, I told Justin, my coach, like, there's not a lot of hype in 212, honestly. You know.
Well, the open class too. I was trying to figure out who's doing that. Nobody's really committed other than a few people, and those few people you all know. It's Hassan.
Yep.
It's Blessing. It's Nick Walker. You know, and Justin Rodriguez. And other than that, who the hell else is doing the show?
I don't understand it. It's like, these are the first shows of the year. Nobody's like,
after only having 4 or 5 last year, you think everybody be chomping the bit to jump into something?
I think a lot of people are not saying anything, or they're just not publishing it or something. I don't know. But everybody's pumping up that Nick Walker and Blessing. I mean, that's supposed to be huge. Like, but I don't know. That's like that. I don't know. Is that going to be huge, like, for the show? I don't know. Are those the top 2 guys in that show?
Well, anytime you can create like a rivalry or hype, it makes the show that much better. Even if they aren't the top 2, right? It doesn't make a difference. You've got a rivalry in there of one person going after, like the Olympia last year. You had the top rivalry, and then you had all these other little rivalry stories underneath it. You know, with Hunter and Ian part 2, and you know that you knew that neither one of them was going to be in the top 5. They were more like 6 through 10, but who's going to finish in front of the other? So it gives you something to watch and something to talk about.
True. And I think, honestly, they should be talking about Justin versus Nick. That should be the rivalry.
Or Hassan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I seen
Hassan is a monster.
Dude, I saw him yesterday at Dragon's Lair. He was huge.
I seen pictures of him. He's just round everywhere. It's like, how the fuck is that even possible?
Before I forget,
I don't think he's taller than 5'8", and he's 275 right now, I want to say.
Him and Nick are the same height. Nick is like 5'7".
5'7", yeah, about 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy because he was doing an hour of cardio on the stairs, and he was on like 50 grams of carbs. I'm like, and he's like 275. I'm like, all right, I need to step it up. What am I doing?
What am I gonna bring back? I gotta level up to you. What are you doing?
About 200 grams of carbs. This guy's doing 50, and he's out as a house. But maybe he just needs that much to get.
And everybody's like that, yeah.
It's counterintuitive though. That's why they're so big. Is they got a slow metabolism. That's like Big Ramy doesn't need as much food as everyone thought. That's what Chad Nichols was saying. That you can give 200 calories, and that's the appropriate amount, not like 3,600. Whereas the reason why I'm so small is because I need so many calories.
You need more to compensate.
So before I forget, if your knees are bugging you, have you tried the pendulum squat at the Dragon's Lair?
Yeah, dude, that thing. I put 2 plates on there. It goes so low, like on the knee, like you get deep into the squat. Right. I don't know. I felt, and I talked to a lot of people, they felt like their knee, like the middle of your ACL, was getting pushed, like you pushed directly on that tendon. I didn't feel a good pump with that, honestly. I felt like I was pushing like a lot with my knee part instead of my quads and activating my glutes and quads.
Okay, because I've never used his, but I've used pendulum squats before, and I would usually do calves, leg curls, leg extensions, leg press, squat, then pendulum squat. And pendulum squat would give me the best lateral pump. And I could work up to 5 plates a side on the one I was using. And that's after 10 plates on the normal leg press for 20 reps, and then after 4 plates on squatting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was able to get really good lateral pump, and I've never gotten it again.
You know why?
That pendulum squat.
I think because you activated all your secondary.
Everything around it.
Yeah.
I always do everything backwards because I want to pre-exhaust everything before I get to it, because I don't know if it's because my legs are so short or it's because they're thick and short, but they're disproportionately strong. So I have to like deactivate them before I get to them.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I think
I'll do leg curls and shit before I do RDLs, and then I'll do leg extensions and Bulgarians and hack squat and everything else, or leg press before I ever get to anything. Like I mean I don't even squat anymore, like real like barbell squats. Haven't done them in well, I had to do them during COVID for about 5 weeks last year, and I hated it. I hated every part of doing it because my lower back tires out before my quads do.
Wow.
I can't pre-exhaust it enough.
And that's what's crazy, because like I see a lot of those guys like Brett and Martin, they do fucking crazy ass hack squats like on that Cybex, and that's so hard because for me, hack squat has never built my legs, never. And I still, to this day, I'm like old school. I do squats, like barbell squats. For some reason, that activates my glute to my hamstrings all the way down to the quad, down to the knee. And I go deep, and I only use 3 to 4 plates, 4 plates tops, but I get a good deep connection with that. And if I go to hack squat, I could do 10 plates. I just don't get that same pump for some reason. I feel like I'm pushing a lot with the knee and the lower teardrop part. I don't get that full activation of the quad and the hamstrings and all that.
Yeah. Well, leg length has a lot to do with that too. Like the guys who usually have the longer limbs and stuff have a harder time with the hack squat. That's what they do with like a wrist squat or a leg press. And the guys who have the shorter, you're going to be really strong on a squat, but you're not going to get the activation out of a squat like me. A hack squat's better. I can get my feet all the way to the bottom of the platform. And I actually had a platform built for the platform that puts them on an angle now. Yeah. So I can get the heels elevated. I'm up on my toes when I go down. So my knees damn near go all the way to the bottom of the platform now when I get to the bottom.
What company is that hack squat?
It's an old Icarian, like 35 degree.
Icarian, dope.
Those are awesome. I love them.
Yeah. It depends what hack squat machine you have too, I think.
Sure. Absolutely.
That Cybex one that they use in Colorado, that one's like...
It's like a 45-degree hack squat.
It's 45, and it goes all the way down, and the platform touches the floor. So
that thing's real deal.
Is completely different than the Icarian, where the platform starts already a foot off the floor, and it's 30 degrees. Mm-hmm. And then the Arsenal is, I don't know, a lot of people, you can't get very deep on the Arsenal because it just doesn't go as deep as the other brands do.
Yeah.
So I don't even hit parallel on the Arsenal.
They have that at the Dragon's Lair, the Arsenal.
Right, because I think Flex owns Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only brand I don't like, the only thing I don't like for the Arsenal line is their hack squat.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be honest, their chest equipment and their back stuff at that Dragon's Lair is really good. They have the... it's like a chest press one that with the Arsenal one, you can load it up with like 8 plates on the side, and it gets a good stretch. And then they have another one where it's kind of incline, and it has like a parallel and then a vertical handle. You can like superset that. And then they got a good shoulder press Arsenal. I like the feel on the Arsenal because it's like completely heavier than a regular machine. Like you could feel the steel is like built way stronger.
Right.
But
I like their shoulder press. I've used their shoulder press. I like that. That thing is it's a lot like the old Icarian used to make one that was
I know
all one piece. It wasn't separate, but it was an all one piece one where you could it had three sets of handles on it. So you had out in front even, and then you could go behind the neck, and it was sitting straight up and down. Yeah, we used to have one of those, and then he ended up getting rid of it.
That one's pretty heavy too, right? Like if you
it's extremely heavy.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I used
You
to
put a plate on there, it's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to go 3 plates per side on that thing, and it was a ton. I'd have to get help getting it up off the bottom, and then we actually put a piece of 4x4, a chunk of 4x4 in there underneath and wedged it under so it wouldn't go down as far, because going all the way to the bottom, you can't.
You tear your
there's
shoulder.
there's literally no way you're getting that out. So we used to bungee cord a piece of 4x4 to it, and I broke it. I actually broke the weld right there, so we had to have it re-welded with a couple of plates on top and bottom of it. We re-welded the thing together because it had snapped while I was using it. I'm sitting there like this, and I could feel the weight wobbling. Well, it had broken it when I had dropped it the set before. The whole thing was moving, and I'm like, this is like ready to fall apart. we take all the weight off it. Put a chalk outline around this thing. Put tape over it. No, don't ever use this again until we fix it. So it was out of commission for a while.
That could have been bad.
it would have been really bad. So
especially your shoulder, because that tear your pec and all that.
We used to like it because that was the only thing that didn't bother my AC joint.
Oh, really?
It's the only thing that wouldn't get like AC joint pain down in there. I would everything else, like even using a Smith machine, or I can't use dumbbells. That's out of the question. There's just no stability there anymore.
Really?
And to do a dumbbell press, I'll hurt myself trying to get it up on top. It's like I will literally hurt myself just trying. Yeah. It's like, unless you want to hand these to me and stand there with me, we're not doing these. So I have to do like a machine.
Strong? Who's going to be able to hand you 110 pounds
or more?
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Dragon's Lair, but not in a
I'm telling you,
I did behind the neck Smith press with 335.
Night. That's good. That's pretty good weight.
You know, I mean, I've always been really strong, regardless of the issues that I have in the shoulder. I've been really, really strong in the shoulders all the time.
Push through it.
60s on lateral raises are easy.
Oh wow, you're like shoulder dominant. Really
shoulder and chest.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I used to do dumbbell press like when I was younger in college and stuff. I would do 130s, pump it out. But now, like, I don't even mess with like 80s. I just do the Arsenal one, the shoulder press, or I'll do, like you said, the Smith machine. I feel like the Smith machine works really well for shoulder press.
We've got that hammer strength, the one you kind of lay back on. It's supposed to mimic a behind the neck press. We have that. Yeah, I use that one a lot too. I'll use that or the Smith.
That's a good one.
Yeah, those are good because I'll do it laying back and then I'll face it sometimes too. So I put my feet on the floor and face it and do it the other direction.
I do it face.
I've seen a lot of guys do that, like the old Olympians. They would do that.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler does that.
It hits your front delts great.
You got to balance your back too because you're like pushing forward. So
I'll just get on there and do like high rep sets at the very, very end of a delt session and stuff. And that's, I'll put like a couple plates on there and try to get sets of 20 knocked out just to get as much blood in there as possible. Cause I don't do anything for front delts. I just don't. I don't do anything for front delts. I get enough with regular pressing and with bench press or incline press. They're getting enough work throughout the week. So that's like literally the only thing that I would do that actually hits the front delt pretty much like exclusively is that, because it's almost like doing a high incline bench press at that point where the way you're sitting. And it's like half reps with a couple plates. Just get as much blood in there. Okay, we're done. Get out. Let's get out of here.
For shoulders, rear delts, and then sides is pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Press heavy and pump some blood in the other into the rest of the caps, and you're good.
Yeah.
Delt training is pretty easy.
And it hits, and chest is going to hit triceps too a lot of times.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
So that's actually a good question. I was going to ask you, how does somebody grow arms like yours?
You know what's crazy is I'll be honest, like before when I first started, I was working with Nick, and we'd messed around with that aimless pumps, the SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing. Like I was doing like, triceps, biceps, rotate, did absolutely nothing. And then 19, I started I just started training. I don't know. What's weird is I don't think I was training them on a full day. And then I've been incorporating a full day of arm training. But I do is like Like John Meadows, he has a supersets. So you would do a bicep movement, go right into the tricep, high reps, and then 3 to 4 sets of that movement, and then 3 different type of selections of the movement.
Sure.
And they're blown up just from the volume and the high train or the high sets and reps. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that when I switched from 8 to 10 reps to 15 to 20 reps, my arms grew much faster. Like rather than a half an inch in 5 years, they grew like an inch and a half in 2 years. But they stalled out recently, and it was because I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And I've never watched Greg Doucette before, but everybody talks about Greg Doucette because his voice gets on my nerves, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I actually watched the Greg Doucette videos, 3 best, 3 worst, and it seems like we agree on everything. Like what we were just talking about with shoulders, not doing front delts, but doing rear delts first, then middle delts, then doing your presses third is how I've been doing them for years. And a lot of people think delts are my best body part. So he was saying barbell curls are his favorite bicep movement. Now, on the other hand, Joe Bennett, which he's like, well, if your elbows are pointed out to your sides, you can't do bilateral movements because your arms aren't tracking in the same direction. It's going to fuck up your joints. You got to do unilateral movements. So I've been doing unilateral movements, and I think like my biceps are getting smaller. So I'm like on that fence where do I want to reincorporate barbell curls, not because they're supposed to be any good, but because they make me strong enough so that when I do my hypertrophy movements, I have the strength for those hypertrophy movements.
Right.
So what do you do? Do you do barbell curls or do you do single arm movements only?
You know what really responds well to my biceps are cables. And it sounds so like a pansy, but a lot of just a regular bar, like a barbell, but just you put it on the cable, and I would do the whole rack. But I'm saying like Johnny Jackson, Branch Warren, just like 30 reps, drop it, the whole rack, and then drop it half the rack, do another 20 to 30 reps, just till you can't even move your arm. Like my arm days, I leave the gym and I'm like trying to drink my shake, and my arm is so pumped for the rest of for 24 hours. I can't even move my arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've always
hard as fuck, basically, but with high reps.
And I think too is I've been doing, my biceps have gotten a lot stronger. I was always tricep dominant because I wanted like Kevin Levrone triceps. So I was mostly doing just triceps mostly, but I noticed I started working out with my buddy, and he was like doing just regular bicep. Like, I don't know if you've seen that machine. It's a Cybex, and you can do individual arm, and you sit back, and it's like on a machine.
It's an incline curl,
We were doing the whole rack. I could barely do it, and like triceps, I could do 3 plates like closed grip, and I'm like, you know what, my biceps are really weak. So I started incorporating more weight with biceps, and that, I think, just the illusion of it, that made my arms look way bigger because my triceps were always big. So I think hitting more bicep movements and then more volume, like you said. I think biceps, arms you can hit twice a week for sure, and a lot of reps because they recover pretty fast from what I think.
Yeah.
Other body parts like, I guess, legs. I think legs are the last body part to recover.
They take forever.
It takes the longest.
So what I've been doing is chest buys, back buys off, hams and delts off, quads and calves off. That's my 7. So I think like I might be able to squeeze in an extra arm day between my hamstring day and my quad day instead of taking 3 rest days, but only having 2 rest days, but throw an arm day in there. Because when I find that if I do biceps, triceps on their own, they respond much better than if I try to do biceps after back or triceps after chest. And I don't think it's because they're exhausted. I think it's because there's just less fuel.
Well, the blood's going to be in your back, not in your biceps.
Yeah.
Which
you're localizing all the blood into one area.
A lot of times if my lower back is fried on back, I'll cut my back workout in half do my biceps to drag the blood out of my lower back. And then I'll go back after biceps and finish the back workout. And my lower back won't get a pump the second time.
Right. That's cool. I mean,
like if I'm doing deadlifts, for instance, on back and biceps, I always do the deadlifts after biceps because I won't get a second lower back pump.
Oh, so you wait to the end to do the deadlifts?
Yeah. But I've moved deadlifts to hamstring day. And then I found that I was just ruining my hamstring workout doing it the way that like Joe Bennett would say, which is seated leg curls, then deadlifts, then go back and do lying leg curls. What I found was if I do seated leg curls, progressive resistance, lying leg curls, pump sets, single leg curls, pump sets, and then go do deadlifts, progressive resistance, the hamstrings are more involved. That one or two heavy sets before deadlifts was not enough to pre-exhaust the hamstrings to make it a hamstring dominant movement to do deadlifts.
I agree. Well, because the more blood you're getting in that muscle, now it's kind of preparing you for that ultimate work set that you're going to be doing with deadlifts or whatever.
You're potentiating the muscle is what you're doing. Everything's firing by that point.
And then me and Keith have talked about hamstrings a lot. Like Keith, like 6 to 10 reps for hamstrings, but I've torn one hamstring 3 times and the other hamstring once. So I usually do 15 to 10 reps for hamstrings for curls, and I usually try to stay in the deadlift range of 8 to 10.
Yep.
How did you tear your hamstring?
You know what? It was usually on leg curl. It was on like fixed leg curl, lying leg curl machines almost every time. Once it was on a straight leg lift, and then the other 3 times were on lying leg curls. So I like the hoist lying leg curl because it moves the torso counterpoint to the ankles. And then I also, you know what? I also tore on the hammer strength single leg curl. So it's like,
I love that one.
Yeah, it's
I love that one.
It's traditional.
Is that a standing leg curl or
standing? It's like on an angle. You lean over it. Yeah,
it's more bent over than a normal standing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you tore it on a standing and a laying one.
Yep, I've torn it each one on lying leg curls. I've torn one hamstring on what do you call it? Single leg curl, and then I tore the other one 10 years ago. The first time doing straight leg deadlifts.
I was gonna say, I would think you would tear it more doing a bigger movement like hip-legged or deadlift, not a leg curl movement on the machine.
It doesn't make any sense. Nobody can figure that one out.
You must have pointed your toe a certain way and then just tweaked the way you were, your muscle was pointing, and then you just went outside of the track or something. I don't know.
And I'm pretty anal when it comes to forward. I drive my hips down. I try to initiate the curl with my knees down, and then at the top of the curl, lift my knees. And the thing is, with all of these, every single time I was working a progressive resistance program, I was 5 weeks into the progressive resistance, and it was a PR set, and it popped on the first rep.
Oh.
So you go, you're all jazzed up, you're ready to go. You've done your warm up with let's say 180 for 5. You go to do 200 pounds for 10, and the first rep it pops, and then you get the other 9 reps because you don't give a fuck. It's like, I already tore it, fuck it, and then you just break your PR anyway.
Well, that's
then you can't train for 3 weeks.
I call that the Allen because the leader gets shot with the first bullet of the goddamn war, but you still tough it out for another 2 days.
Right.
You know what I noticed too is I worked out with that guy, Eric Brosner. He's from Venice Beach. Mm-hmm. He does all the Mecca. He was training those guys. But we did a lot of reps, but I noticed his reps, the initiate, right when you're about to press or whatever, squat, don't explode into that right away. Kind of take your time into the rep on a lot of the pressing movements. And just squeeze the muscle first, because a lot of times you're just going you're kind of jerking it right away and you're not pressing with the actual muscle.
I think that's a psychological flaw in progressive resistance, is that you are afraid of that heavy set. And so you convert fear into aggression, and that's where the strength comes from until the strength is greater than your physical durability and you snap some shit.
Yep.
That's how I do especially with hamstrings, I do that. It's a very, very, very slow negative. I almost count to 4 on the way down.
Yeah.
And when I get to the bottom, it's not a full extension. I'm like a little bit knee bent, and I will always squeeze my hamstrings before I explode. Now it's a violent explosion.
Yeah.
But my hamstrings are tight before I start the explosion, right? So it's like it's same thing with like a curl. I don't go to the bottom and then try to jerk it up. I go to the bottom, I squeeze the bicep and the whole arm, I squeeze it, and then I come back and explode back.
I know it's like you don't really got to go. You can do that and not do crazy amount of weight, but you're going to get a crazy contraction and pump.
Right. Well, but you still get stronger over time.
You can definitely.
And I think you actually get stronger over time than you would if you were like just, flipping weight around. Yeah. Because the muscles are actually in control.
Well, and I normally have a good mind-muscle connection to everything but my biceps and hamstrings. That's why I shit muscle. So to get around that, rather than going so heavy that I can PR a set of 10, I drop the rep range or increase the rep range to 15s. Now I'm dealing with a weight where I feel it in the bicep or the hamstring, but it's not so heavy that it's going to snap some shit. So that's where I went with this, is because Keith advocates the 6 to 10 rep range for leg curls, which is kinesiologically correct for those fast twitch fibers. But I found when I train like that, I tear those muscles. So I now use a 10 to 15 rep range for my hamstrings, and I choose a 15 to 20 rep range for biceps, because if I train my biceps with less than 15 reps, I'm feeling forearms, I'm feeling shoulders.
Even your shoulder starts pulling your front delt.
Right. So if you're doing the bicep, it's got to be light enough that the central nervous system doesn't just fire the whole kinetic chain.
Yeah. Well, biceps and triceps, it's high rep, but I usually do so if I'm doing like rest pause sets with those, my rest pause will aim for like 25 to 30 reps total.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the first set, I'm getting like 15.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's, 6 to 8 somewhere in there after resting for like 20 seconds, and then I might get like 3 or 4 on the last one. So we're shooting for that 25 to 30 rep range in there. It's still high rep. I'm just it's
like it's definitely a taxing workout because you're doing a lot more reps. It's different because like when you go all out on deadlifts and stuff like that, you're just done. This it's almost like, I feel like it's almost a cardio session too, a little bit, because you're doing so many reps, but you don't feel as fatigued as you would go all out like on a squat or a deadlift. That after those 10 reps, you're done.
Well,
it's different. Yeah.
To try to do 6 weight heavy enough to where you're actually failing on a 6 reps with a fucking dumbbell curl. How good do you think those reps really are?
Now,
how much other shit are you using to get that weight up to get just to fail at 6, right? Unless that 6 is like a 10-second negative. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And you're doing it with a 25-pound dumbbell, so you're failing at, halfway through the 6th rep or something, right? Where you're not, I mean, if I want to hoist around like 80-pound dumbbells or some shit, I'm not getting a whole lot of bicep. I'm getting a lot of front delt. I'm getting a lot of forearm, right?
No, I would say a lot of jerk and
I'm deadlifting the weight halfway up from my hip,
Yeah.
So I'd challenge anybody to do 6 rep curls for a while and see how long you actually last before your elbows are just destroyed.
It'd be my wrist. My wrist would be gone.
Yeah. My wrists always get tore up, but
I used to do that when I was younger. I did that, and I had fucking tendonitis in tennis elbow real bad from doing heavy skull crushers and heavy easy bar curls.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And they didn't last very long.
So that brings us back to what Austin was saying. So you do 30 reps, drop the stack in half, do 20 more reps with the easy curl attachment for the cable station. Mm-hmm. Where would you put that in your bicep routine? I know you're doing superset with triceps.
Okay. I would start with like you could do the easy curl bar and just do a push down.
Sure.
And then go right into the curl in the same machine, same cable.
I see. So you like use tape when you do supersets like I do.
Yeah, it's like right there.
Your body right there.
Across the gym to get the actual weight. And then I would go from the cable to like a free weight. So then from there I would go to a hammer curl seated, with like 2 arms, and then I would go to like a skull crusher with the like the easy curl bar, but the weights already, you know, has like 90, 80s, 100s. I would do that as a superset, and then I would like do like a finisher with like a preacher curl 1-arm dumbbell, and then do like a kickback with the dumbbell, like just take it off the pad and do a kickback.
All right, so you like to use virtually the same weight. So another way of doing this is you use the same stack. You got 2 different easy curl bars. One's above your head and one's at your feet. And you do press downs, or one could use a rope maybe if that would be too strenuous.
You could do a rope. Yeah, you could do a rope pull and then a
W curl off the floor. And you're talking 30 reps, drop 20, 30 reps, drop 20.
Oh, let me clarify that. So I would do at least 3 sets of 15 reps, right? And then my last set, that's when it's a drop set all out.
All out set to failure.
And are you pressing with the weight? Or you just
my muscles already filled up with blood, and I want to go crazy and just
pump it. And you pyramid up the weights with those 15s, or you're only counting once you got the whole stack?
Oh, you mean like for the last set?
For all of them. Like, are you doing 50, 100, 150, or are you only counting 150 for 15 times 3, and then 150 for 30, drop 75, 20?
I would count that last set.
Okay.
But I copied that from John Meadows'
your feeder sets.
It was like on a internet PowerPoint thing, and it was like you have to pay for it, but I found it for free online. It was on this site, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna follow. I've been following a lot of his programs, the Meadows, and I really like his training, to be honest.
Right, and he is great, and I noticed that he does it a lot with arms. Is 3 exercises, 3 to 4 sets, 10 to 15 reps, and you alternate by try. And he's got a bunch of these combinations that are very convenient and effective. I've noticed that too. Like the skull crushers, I noticed that, for example, Hunter does dumbbell skull crushers rather than barbell crushers. His arms wouldn't track in a straight line. So that
would. And I noticed he does like there's a prime bar, like a prime attachment, and you can that has hooks where you can
put them wherever you want. Yeah.
But he puts it shoulder width for triceps, and he pushes, because a lot of times if you're pushing, like I feel like you're gonna mess up your you need to be like shoulder width with the tricep push down, because you're gonna activate your triceps more than you are like your shoulders and all your wrists and stuff. It's gonna be realigned better. So
I think with the rope, especially a double rope, which was a Ben Pakulski trick, you allow for more of that lack of straight up and down, because anybody who's got lats and triceps, their arms aren't going to move in a straight line with the other arm. They're gonna go like this, and then they straighten out. It's going to be it's going to go up and down like this.
Right.
Once they get big enough, and that's
when I also like the if you ever do a cable from the bottom, like like you can put the handle, just a one handle. Those big have you ever seen those big grip handles? They're like 2 or 3 inches, metal
Nick
ones.
Walker uses those.
Those are good too.
Now, what I found was if I curl like this, I'm going to get much more of a bicep contraction than if I curl like this.
Yeah, however you curl it, but I
would almost want to do one arm at a time though. Then.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have that bigger grip, for some reason, I feel like you're opening up your bicep more to get more of a pump, and I don't know, when it's closed, you're kind of just contracting the outer part of your forearm.
Sure.
If you have it open more, you're going to open up your biceps. I don't know. It just feels like there's more tension that's going to be put on your bicep muscle.
All right, because I noticed that Jay Cutler
he loves those fat grips.
One company, and I know that Nick bought those D handles with the thicker things, and he carries them around with him and then attaches them to everything.
They're good.
Them goes through the gym.
They're good. I even do those with chest flies on the cables, and it I don't know. I feel like you're putting a lot more tension on with the muscle that you're training in instead of just but you're gripping it. It's hard to grip it. If it's heavy, you really got to focus on gripping that thing. So and I just purchased these. I saw Sergio using it online. It's like Titan makes them, and they're slanted grips, but you use them for like back. So you're pulling more with your
pinky
fingers more than with your index. So I guess it's going to activate more of your lats. But I've been waiting in the mail for these things for like a month.
Where they at?
I think it's Titan Grips that makes them. They're a cool grip. Like it puts less stress on the index and the thumb. So you're pulling more with your fingers. And it's
I've just trained myself over the years to only grip like this when I do back. I never use these fingers. And I use my my strap. And then these fingers pinch the strap in place.
Yeah.
And then I don't even need to use these fingers.
I remember watching a thing with Seth Feroci, and he was saying he calls it the pistols. And if you're doing like a pull up, especially the the one assisted pull up, do it don't use this finger and your thumb, but pull with your outer fingers. And he said you engage your lats way better.
Those mag grip attachments kind of mimic that, because your hands are angled so that you're putting more pressure towards the outside of your hand and less on the index finger.
I think he said it takes the forearm and it takes your elbows out of a lot of the movement.
I love those. I love those mag grip ones because it doesn't matter what handle I use as far as what width. I feel more in my lats and less in my forearm, no matter what.
Those are the attachments, right?
The black ones. You got the little one, you got the medium, the long, and they got the ultra long one, and they've got your hands are like this or like this all the time, but everything's angled on them, so you're forced to have to put more pressure here than you are.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like you put more on the outer fingers, and that's good too on like a cable a closed grip for back. Like you pull that, I feel it way better than actually just using the handles, putting wraps around the handles and then pulling it. You're using a lot of forearms.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
What I started doing a lot of is I use the D handles, and I don't use the handle. I just put my wrist through the hole, and then I use my wrist as the contact point. And I do that for straight arm pull downs. I do that for a lot of my tricep movement.
Yep.
That I don't ever grip it anymore with my hand. And I started
doing that too with a back pull, and you can just put it around your wrist, and you're just pulling it strictly with your wrist into your back. No hand, no forearm. No forearm activation, nothing.
Yeah, I do that for the straight arm pull down. I think in order to do that with any other pull, you'd have to have like a cuff that you Velcro around your wrist. And I don't have one of those.
They have that at the Dragon's Lair too.
No way.
I'm the only guy that uses that thing because I bring it out and people are like,
"What the fuck is that?"
Like if you pull it on the on a pull cable row, you only need about 90 to 100 pounds. It's heavy as shit because you're pulling with your wrist. You're not gripping it. So it's like I don't think anybody uses that thing. It's crazy. So those are really good. I don't know. I think it's all depends on creativity and how your body, responds to what kind of movement you're doing. You can't just do everything that everybody's doing. Sometimes you don't feel it.
So that's one thing I've always thought, and I'm glad it's becoming more well known now. With people doing podcasts, is nobody ever said you have to do a move. Right? If you don't feel it, if you get nothing out of it, you've tried every which way to make that work for you and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Scrap it. Pick the shit that works. Right. Stick with it. Get good at it, right? And get good results from it rather than, And
that's crazy because a ton of guys ask me to train with them, and they're like my good friends, but I have to go off of how my body feels and what body parts am I trying to bring up, and then a lot of times I'm going off of my body, so I'm not going to do the same movements as them. So it'd be kind of arguing if we go and train because I'm going to do everything towards what I need to do instead of just doing the standard T-bar row, this, that, and this and that, just to say we did it. I might do 12 sets of cable lat pull downs because I want to work on my lat pull downs that day, but it's I'd have to convince my training partner, hey, let's do this, but he doesn't need to do that. So I have to, honestly, I train by myself.
Yeah. Right. And it's it's
the same way.
It's the same situation where let's say I've got a client and they want me to show them how to do their back routine. And it's like, well, I don't do your back routine. I do my back routine. And it's like, you can come lift with me on my back routine, and they come lift with you your back routine. They slow you down, ask a ton of questions. You can't keep a pump. You're too distracted to focus on what you're doing. You can't wear headphones. You can't get in the mood to actually lift heavy. And then you see them at the gym, and they're doing your back routine, not their back routine.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, this is what you showed me to do. I'm like, no, this is what I did, and you lifted me. If I wanted you to do it, I would have written into your program.
Yeah. I get it. That's how I am. Like, and I get pissed off like when I know we're not going to get anything done and we're just talking.
Oh,
yeah. And it's like, it's kind of almost like, because you're on low carbs or something, it's a waste of the day. It's a waste of your whole planning of your day.
And they don't understand.
And you're ready to go.
This isn't a hobby. This is my fucking job. It's like, am I going to come to your work and then make sure that you don't get anything done all day because I'm going to follow you around and ask you incessant questions? And it's like, I can't hold the pen right. And you put the pen in my hand, and then I try to write my name, and the pen goes flying across the room, and you're going to go pick up the pen and put it back in my hand, and I still can't write my name. It's like, I'm going to spend 35 minutes trying to teach you how to strap yourself to the bar on every goddamn movement. That'll take forever. It's like, you don't know how to use straps. Like, maybe you should practice that before showing up. Oh, you're high. Well, thank you so much for getting high before this session, because the 3-hour workout takes 4.5 hours.
Because you can't understand a damn word I said.
Dude, I mean, I'm so bad because you guys know me. I love to talk. And I'm just like, Dom Cardone, like, he's like, dude, you're prepping for the fucking New York Pro. Why are you talking in the gym? Like,
shut the fuck up.
He'll see me, like, he'll stop me when I'm doing. He's like, go train. Like, because if I get in a conversation with somebody, it'll turn into like a 5-minute, and it's like right after my first set, I won't, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go back and do.
You got another set yet?
And I'll come home and I tell my wife, like, man, I just wasted 4 hours at the gym for about an hour, like, of training. So.
Yeah, I make sure the headphones are on and everybody. And
I do that.
I don't look approachable. I try to make it look as unapproachable as possible, and people pretty much generally leave me the fuck alone.
I trust me. I put my headphones on. I have a hoodie. I'll put I don't even wear the fucking mask, but I'll put it on so they can't see my face, just so I can like hide myself. And sure enough, it'll somebody
finds you.
Hey, I was. Even, or can I get anything possible will happen to me.
But they probably won't bother you during the off season.
No, it's like, when I don't want to train, it's like the whole gym's empty. Nobody's there. I'm like, what the fuck? And then when I want to get in there and get in and get out, I'm like, I'm telling you, just go in there, Austin, and just fucking train, and tell whoever talks to you, just, I'll talk to you after.
Yeah.
But I never, it turns into 30 minutes here, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and I'm like, fuck, I just got to get through this.
Yeah. I used to be unapproachable, but I'm too friendly. Even though I look ugly and unapproachable, I'm like super friendly. So it just doesn't work. So it's like everybody fist bumps me. Everyone makes an effort to come say hi. I don't know how I got popular. I've never been popular before, but now I am. And it's like, I just do what I can. And it's like, if someone's talking to me and it's like, I feel ready for a set, I'm like, keep talking. I'm going to do my set.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
And I just lift while they're talking. And usually they're like, well, maybe I should be working out too. It's like, you think? And it's like, they'll go away.
That's a clue. But I honestly, like, what I think is, if you broke your leg today and you couldn't compete the rest of your life, I'm like, I take it real, like, okay, we're not always going to look this good, and we're not always going to be able to train like this, and people are appreciating what we do. So I feel like, you should appreciate that, like, what's happening to you at this moment, because it can like leave you like that.
Sure.
And you could have, and you never know, you could get cancer and then you never compete again, and all that stuff. You took advantage and you blew it off because
I had a really shitty coach who actually taught me one valuable thing. Maybe he taught me more than one. One thing comes to mind right now. And it's like, my dad wasn't smart. He wasn't a great bodybuilder, but everyone liked him because he was nice. And when he died, the funeral, like the funeral home or wherever the funeral was at standing room only, spilled out into the street.
Wow, that sounds just like my dad's.
So it's like, it's so long after, I think his point was long after you're not a bodybuilder, and people don't give a shit what you have to say because they don't even know that you know shit about biochemistry or medicine. It's like, if people remember you being nice to them, they'll like you. And it's like, now you could say, well, what's that good for? And it's like, well, I mean, in my case, I own businesses. So the more people are much more likely to buy from someone they like than someone they don't. Look how all this woke culture and cancel culture is going. It's like, I switched to Pepsi. Like, Coke offended me so badly with their human resources video that was leaked that I switched to Pepsi. It's like,
no, it's true. I mean, I think too, a lot of guys, they don't realize that this is, bodybuilding is awesome, but it's definitely a community of sport that people don't really give a shit about you in a sense, because once you lose and you're not good, they don't care who you are. They're not talked about. You're only as good as your last show. And if you're winning at the time, people love you. You're going to be talked about. You're going to be the good guy. Everybody wants to be on that train of success. Well, I know him. I talked to him. He was on my show, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you start losing and you're really not a face, you're not like in the limelight, they're kind of forget about you quick.
You're not relevant anymore at that point.
Look at Phil Heath. I mean, Phil Heath was it was a 7-time or 8-time Mr. Olympia?
7.
Okay, so he was a 7-time Mr. Olympia. He got 3rd at this last show, which was questionable, and nobody talks about him like he was, a great bodybuilder now. It's like, oh, fuck Phil Heath.
People didn't like him.
This guy just won 7 times dominantly, and he was one of the best Mr. Olympias ever, but we throw him off the bus. We brush him off because we're like, oh, Rami's way bigger and harder.
Well, I think it ties into the other conversation, though, is like he was really a dick. And so since people didn't like him, they couldn't see past their feelings and appreciate his physique.
Right.
Well, they liked him more after he retired, after he went away the first time. He was more popular getting ready for this last Olympia than he ever was the previous 5 years before that.
That's crazy.
Just like Kai Green is more popular now than he ever was.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
I can't stand Kai Green, but whatever. I can't. I can't.
I like his posing and I like his philosophy, and I think he's quiet. It's sometimes he doesn't stay on point. Like listening to him's kind of like
ever.
You have like a bunch of puzzle pieces at the end of and you can like assemble the puzzle pieces to come up with what he was trying to say. But I still like Kai. I've always been a Kai Green fan.
I just want to see what he looks like, now that he's been off the show for 5 years? 5 years?
He's not going to compete. He is not going to compete.
7 years. He's been out.
He has been playing this game for. Well, I might not. He's been playing this for 7 years. He ain't coming back. What would be the point?
He definitely looks like he's still training hard. I mean, looks still big. But not show ready. Let's see what he looks like on stage.
Well, Phil still looked big too after double hernia surgery and being off for almost year and a half. He still looked big too.
He wasn't training.
Right, he wasn't really training that hard. I mean, he trained a little bit here and there, and then he started ramping it up once he decided he was actually going to give it a go.
Right.
I
don't think Kai's going to compete. I think because if he did, he's going to get. I think he'll get destroyed compared to the guys now.
I mean, if you look at Boogeyman, and he looks.
Boogeyman.
Blessing of Wodabu. He looks insane. And he's being coached by Kai.
And Chad Nichols.
Yep, and Chad Nichols. So is Kai really going to coach his own competition?
I don't know. Who was he working with before? George
I don't
Farah.
think Blessing ever worked with anyone before.
He worked with Oscar Arden,
Oh.
the guy that worked with Akeem.
Right.
Yeah.
We had,
But
yeah.
That's Oscar.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think George Farah worked with Kai.
Oh, we're talking about Kai. Okay, yeah. He was with
Yeah.
Oscar Arden for 210, 211. And
Yeah.
then he was with
George
for
after that.
212, 213.
Yeah.
And maybe 214.
Because remember at the Olympia, it was George Farah, and he was yelling at Hani. They're like, "Oh, well, you guys haven't seen Kai. You know, like he's gonna beat Phil, but he didn't beat him. He could have beat him in 13. He looked pretty good, but
there's certain things Oscar does that other coaches don't do.
2011 to 2014, 2015, Phil was pretty much unbeatable, except for with Ronnie. That'd be the only one beating that look. I mean, everything was there.
I was at all those Olympias watching it live, and he was dude, like everybody came out was good, and then when Phil came out, you'd be like, no, nobody's beating this guy.
Yeah,
he was so good. I mean, from the back, from the front, he just was 3D looking crazy.
And that's the thing that people said, and I never understood it until I saw him. I just saw him at the expo, but in person, even from 100 feet away, he looks so much bigger in person than he does two-dimensionally in a screen.
He does, dude.
And that's true about Hidete, that's true about Jose, that was true about John De La Rosa, but the way that Phil looked, he looked inhuman.
He's a basketball player too, so he's not as short as people. He's like 5'9", but he looks taller than 5'9". He has like a lengthier look, athletic look, but his muscle insertions and the 3D muscle, like it's nuts. Freaky. It's freaky. Yeah. I don't think a lot of guys look like. I mean, Big Ramy looks like that in person. Big Ramy.
I have stood next to him in person a few years ago, and I didn't. Honestly, I expected him to be bigger than what he was. But then when you look at somebody like Phil, and it's like, whoa, just walking around the expo in a baggy T-shirt,
and he still
that tricep is popping out of that baggy T-shirt, and it looks like he's got his arm wrapped with something.
Yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck is that?
To me, that's like, and that's what I like. I'm always been an open guy. Like I've always been intrigued by that open, big, freaky. Like 212 is cool. I mean, but 212 guys walk around. Nobody's like, get out of the way. You know, there's a 212 guy. Nobody's intimidated by that. But you see, like a guy like Max Charles, Akeem Williams, or
they're just massive.
You feel heat. I feel heat like that. To me, was always with body. Like I want to be like that. Sure. Like Jay Cutler. Remember when Jay Cutler was huge?
Oh God,
I see him in the gym, and I was like, "That's my idol. That's what I want to be like." That guy right there. But now it's like, I'm like, I want to still be like that. I don't want to just stay in 212. And I feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice trying not to push myself to get to a bigger class.
Is there anybody who wants to be 212 and stay there?
I think there's some guys that are just like, I'm here and I'm going to make an impact and this is all I need to do.
Well, yeah. And then
like
there's some that
Florida, he's not moving up to open.
No, that's what I was going to say. There's some guys that are pretty much max their physique out size-wise with what they're going to do.
Like John Jewett, perfect example. I think he can move up to open, to be honest. I think he's 5'7", and he's got a really like power. He's like a power lifter type of dude. I think he could definitely go to open. I think he has to starve himself to get to 212, and I don't feel like bodybuilding. You should grow into the show. You should be.
I don't see the point of that. When you got Hottie at 220 and Bonac 220 being in the top 5, why the fuck is anybody who's 225 coming down 13 pounds of muscle just to make 212?
Well, I always told myself, when I get to be a pro, I don't want to starve myself to get to a class. I want to grow into the show because that's what, to me, I've earned my right to now, get bigger. But, like making weight, like for light heavyweight, that sucks. I don't want to, I gotta lose 10 pounds by 2 weeks. We're going to do it, coach, but I'd rather be like, no, I'm at I'm 235. I'm here. I'm ready to
We're
go.
We're just gonna make it look like the best 235 we can.
Well,
Yeah,
this is kind of the shit example because it's just amateur, but it's like in 2019, the best look I ever had, I was 167, 168. So I was like 1 or 2 pounds over the welterweight. And we didn't pull water or even try to make welter because we knew there's no way a welterweight would ever win the overall for the state championship.
True.
So it's like pretty much grab a weight and go step on the scale so you can make middle in the opposite direction and won the overall, right? And then like, with this last year at the what was it, North American? So at North American, I busted my ass to lose 15 pounds overnight to make middleweight, and I ended up beating the light heavies anyway in the overall pose down. So it's like, had I came in at 180 or 185, would I have beaten the heavyweight and gotten the second pro card rather than the third pro card?
Yeah,
and would I have been crisper because I was full and beaten the super heavyweight and won the overall?
Probably not.
Yeah. Not 5 pounds, but yeah.
15, 10 pounds.
15 pounds would have done it. Yeah, 15 pounds on your frame would have done it for sure if you'd have been at 190.
But I think, too, is like we forget when you're at your leanest and your most peeled, you look your best. So you're like, tell yourself, well, I could have been 10 pounds bigger, but
would you have looked the same, right?
Yeah, it would have been 90% versus 100%.
I definitely look softer at 175 than I did at 180 or 185.
Definitely. Yeah, because we get in our mind like bigger is better. The scale, more on the scale is better. But like I remember when I worked with Matt Porter, he would intentionally bring guys down a class to compete, and they would look way better and peeled.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's sad, like because I know how you said you're gonna try to see how much muscle you actually gain, and if I know in your mind if you get to the same weight that you did last year, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I didn't gain any muscle. Like, but I could have gained muscle.
I told Justin I don't give a shit what we weigh. I don't care if it's 202 or if it's 222. I don't really care. Whatever it looks. I'm good.
The day before the show, and you're like the same weight, you're gonna be like, damn, like, oh, I wish I weighed more.
Yeah, I put the side by sides next to each other and go, yep, that's way better.
Well, and here's the thing: nobody cares what you weigh. Honestly,
they don't know unless I tell them. They're not gonna know. Yep. Nobody's
gonna say, what did you weigh on stage? Like they're gonna say, congratulations, you look awesome. Yeah. Nobody. That's all ego. I'm telling you, it's an ego thing. We get it as bodybuilders, and that's why I'm like, tell myself when all these guys post their on Cellulose and Bodybuilders Without Borders, and they put their weight and they're in the 212. I'm like, who cares? You're gonna get down to 212. So
we're all gonna be under 212. So what's it matter?
You're gonna be You're 250 now. You're gonna weigh 212 on stage. So
Clarita just won the Olympia at 177. It doesn't make a difference.
You're gonna, if you're in the open class, I would say, yeah, it's cool. You put 285, 290.
Sure.
But cool. I feel like if you're gonna make 212, then who cares what you weigh now? Like,
right, exactly.
You're gonna get down. So.
Well, I tell you what, if that came down to where I was, a few pounds over 5 or even 10 pounds over 212, I would be pushing to get to 212.
For sure. Yeah,
I would push to get that little extra conditioning out of it and stuff. We'll worry about it afterwards, unless it was going to dramatically hurt me because I have to starve to get there. Right?
If you're losing muscle at that point,
right? You don't want to do that, but there's no sense in losing muscle to do that. But
because if you dry yourself out and you lose 5 pounds, the next day you're going to weigh that 5 pounds coming right back after.
Put that water right back in. Yeah.
And you're going to be fine. You know what I mean? So, like you said, it's coming in crisp, dry, that peeled look, because peeled muscle looks better than fluffy muscle. Trust me.
Right. Yeah. Which is like, you look at somebody like Derek, who's pretty much had to lose a little bit of muscle to get to 212. And that for him the last couple of years, I don't think it's made sense. And I've told him that to his face, that you just do open.
I talked to him at the Dragon Slayer. And
he is enormous.
He looks Well, I think. Oh, he's in Florida, right? He's not Michigan.
Yeah, he lives in Tampa.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, "Are you gonna go to Open because you're with Hani?" And he's like, "No, he's like, we're 212. Me and you are like 212 guys for now." And I'm like, "Yeah," but I was like telling him, dude, a month out at 230, you look phenomenal. Like
he's fucking 255 right now.
Yeah, he's 255.
And
but
he looks the size of a house.
He's round, big, full. And I think at the last Olympia, he was telling me he overly dieted, and he said he ate, and then he like literally dropped weight after eating a lot. So he was even more depleted than what he thought. And I think at that point, you can't fill out. You're just just so flat, and just it sucks, you know.
I think he would be like kind of like Flex, right? He'd look his best right around 230 to 235.
I think he could pull that off because he's taller than Flex. I don't know. He might be the same.
He's a half inch taller than me. He's 5'6". I'm 5'5" and a half.
Yeah.
And he looks like he weighs 60 pounds more than I do.
Well,
standing next to each other.
I saw a photo with him.
Huge.
You know what's crazy is I saw a photo with him and Sean at the Dragon's Lair, and he looks twice the size of Sean in the photo, but Sean beat him. You know, so there you go. So it's conditioning and shape versus size, you know.
There was a picture of him and there's probably like 7 or 8 guys, including some open guys in there.
Oh yeah.
And he was the biggest one in the picture. Like by far.
Derek's big.
He's huge. Oh,
he's
just a big thick. He's a big kid.
Well, so like why does he want to be like 212?
I think because he got second 2 years in a row, you know, and it's chomping at the bit, and I think he knows he's right there. If he just comes in peeled, I think he could definitely, and I would say even if I go against him, he's definitely a good competitor. So I think he knows he's right there, so he could beat Sean, but he just has to bring the best package. And I don't know, maybe with Hani, he can be full round big and peeled at that weight. I don't know.
So let's put in perspective. Could Derek beat Hottie in Open?
I don't know. Hottie's pretty peeled. I mean, that guy.
So let's say Hottie is going to be second. That we're going to have Big Ramy is first. Big Ramy is first. Hottie's second. Derek could be third. Wouldn't Derek rather be third Open than 212?
I would. Yeah, I mean, I've never made the Olympia, so if I was getting second and I said, hey, I might move up and see how I do in the big boy class, I would definitely go for it, you know, because I'd be like, I'm already outgrowing this class, so I mean, I'm not really going anywhere. But maybe he has like unfinished business in the 212, you know?
I think that's mostly what it is.
It might be just like he wants that title because he was supposed to get it not this year, last year, but the year before. I think he really was aiming for that 212.
And Flex had moved on, and
yeah, and then also Flex is going to Open, so he looks huge right now too.
Yeah, so if you
talked to him yesterday,
if you look at it perspective wise, I mean, you got Flex is going to be, Hottie is going to be there, Bonax is going to be there, Dexter is going to be there. So out of the top,
Dexter retired.
He says he retired. Did he really retire?
Is he still training?
He's retired. He's retired.
All right.
No,
so
he is. Rolly is supposed to do it, and who knows what he looks like.
I heard Rolly's doing the New York Pro.
What's that?
I heard Rolly's coming to the New York Pro. That is what I heard. Yeah, like he's going to be at the New York Pro. But
the New York Pro is like a mini Olympia this year.
Wow! If Rolly does the New York Pro, that'll make things interesting because he won it before in 2011.
It was his first show. I think was the New York Pro that he was pro debut.
That show made him famous. It's I think New York Pro's like at the top of the list for pro shows, and then Arnold.
Well, actually, Arnold's no more. There is no more Arnold, Ohio.
Oh, really? They're not doing it?
That Lorimer and I guess Arnold split partnership. Arnold went to the Pro Elite. He's not in the IFBB Pro anymore.
When did you hear this?
Today. Nick Trigilli covered it in detail.
Okay, well, I'll wait till I actually see
Let's
it in print
see.
rather than listen to Nick on anything.
Yeah.
Well,
Nick
okay,
says a
well,
lot of shit just to stir up shit.
Yeah.
all right, well, let's just
What?
wait for Nick's strength and power to say it. But I mean,
Right.
Or RX muscle.
or
Right.
What
or-
is
Or
his,
Palumbo, right?
what the hell is IFBB Pro Elite? I never follow that.
so there's a new organization that's different from the IFBB Pro International.
It's international. It's in
Yeah.
Europe.
Oh,
Mostly.
okay.
Yeah, IFBB Pro Elite. And so, like, different people are now turning pro in this elite organization that's different from our IFBB Pro.
Huh.
And that Arnold is now making the Arnolds part of that and not the IFBB Pro Professional League.
So Joe Weider, who started the organization, gave Arnold his career, and now he's leaving the organization.
I think it has to do with Arnold and Jim Lorimer aren't getting along, and I guess that a few years ago, remember they broke away. The Manion broke away from the IFBB Pro International.
Yeah.
And you started having NPC Worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
NPC Worldwide was the way to get into the IFBB Pro Professional.
That whole thing was Raphael what the hell is his name? Santilli or whatever, wanting to send all the fucking judges from the IFBB international judges to go judge NPC shows, and they're like, Manion's like, no, we've got this covered. We don't need your judging. And they had a big argument over it. And it was like a week later, they said, yeah, we're breaking away from this. We're no longer affiliated with them. The IFBB is its own entity, and the NPC. And then they got Canada on board because remember, Canada had their own, it was international divisions that they had. So now they have the CPA, which is basically just like the NPC, but it's a Canada.
CPA.
That's what they call it.
Wow.
The shit's hit the fan. And now that Arnold's left, it's actually legitimizing this alternative IFBB thing. And I see this as true if Arnold and Lorimer had a falling out.
That could be.
If there's any other reason, I don't think it has to do with Arnold and Manion. I think it has to do with Arnold. If he fell out with Jim Lorimer, then there's no reason to go back to Columbus because the city of Columbus have been dicks for several years. They even wanted to take down Arnold's statue.
But what about the Arnold Europe, Arnold South Africa?
Well, all of those would be part of Raphael's organization, I would think.
Oh.
Because they were
Arnold owns that, right? He owns those names to those shows? I think
Arnold owns the names of the shows, so he can choose which IFBB Pro League, whether it's Pro Elite or Pro International, which is ironic because Pro International is the United States.
Yeah.
It gets to be at these Arnold Brazil, Arnold Australia, Arnold. Wow. But I guess where I was going with this is it used to be Olympia, Arnold, New York Pro.
Yep.
Great line, right? Now, if there's no more Arnold, Ohio, my point is the New York Pro would then be the number 2 most prestigious show in the world.
Right. Absolutely. Or don't forget
Tampa.
Athleticon. That's
Athleticon got pushed back another year.
You're right, but that's
not going to happen.
I heard somebody was saying it might be earlier next year in beginning of the year.
But that's still not IFBB. It's a separate organization, and I don't know whether or not it jeopardizes our pro cards to compete in that alternative organization.
That's going to be the question: is if somebody was to go do Athleticon, that's an IFBB Pro. Right. Would they get suspended by the IFBB like the IFBB has done in the past for guys that went to the WBF or they went to NABA and competed, right? You know,
like
you've given up your pro. Yeah. Well, Lee was already suspended when he went to NABA.
I know that was why he did it.
He had already been suspended 3 times at that point, and then he decided to come back in 2012.
But he's not doing a show in IFBB, right?
He's done. Lee's been done for years. 50 years old now. He's done.
My only point is I don't want to do Athleticon for the money and then eliminate my ability to use my pro card to go to the Olympia.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody would do that.
Well, I think Athleticon, isn't it all invite only? Or is it? Yeah.
But it doesn't prevent the Manions from banning you from competing ever again.
Yeah, I would never do it unless I got the.
I mean, think about like what was it? WBF, right? That was Vince McMahon's organization back in the early '90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
All those guys, Stridham, all those guys lost their pro, or they didn't lose their pro card. They just got suspended indefinitely for jumping ship.
I remember that.
And then one at a time, the Weeders start bringing them back. Over the sign them to contracts and stuff just to bring them back to get them to compete.
That's
again.
like, remember they like came out and they have like music playing and they would do like a whole entire like skit and song and stuff. It wasn't even.
It was an event.
It was.
It froze for a second.
Yeah, I froze for a second too. Did we lose Austin?
I hope not.
He's doing.
Did you ever watch that WBF?
Nah, man.
Oh, I saw. God, was it 1990? I think was one of their, because they only did like a handful of shows, and it was on TV. It was Gary Stridham and Eddie Robinson were in that, and it was ridiculous. It wasn't even. It was literally like professional wrestling with bodybuilding mixed, because they talk crap to one another backstage, and then they went out and they basically did like a skit. They're in costumes and shit. I remember who it was that came out looking like Thor. He came out in a Thor costume and posed to it. Yeah, I think we lost him. He's just sitting there, frozen.
That's just on Facebook.
Did you?
Yeah, it's like we lost you.
If I can stop him somehow. Here. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get him back now. Let's see if I can get him back. What do you call him? Yeah, we're an hour and 40 in.
Yeah.
I need to eat again anyway soon. I'm getting fucking hungry.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then I sweat and then I get cold. And then I sweat and then I get cold.
I know this sounds stupid, and I know I'm going to change my mind the second I fucking start doing it, but I've been ready to start prep for months because I feel like I'm spinning my wheels with the weights. My arms aren't getting any bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not getting stronger. I'm not getting bigger. I'm not able to eat enough to gain weight. I'm just spinning my wheels right now, maintaining. But I know we talked about it with your Justin. What I'm doing is solidifying my tissue.
Right, exactly.
That when I go to diet, I'm not going to lose the quarter inch I put on my arms or the inch I put on my legs. I'm just going to lose the fat. Whereas if I jumped into prep 3 months ago, I would have lost everything I just put on November through December.
Mm-hmm.
Or January, that is. That November through January was very productive. And then after January, I could not keep 220. And I've been struggling between 210 and 213. Occasional 215 here, occasional 208 there, but that's not to be covered, really. I'm disgusted.
He's like, call me. I'm like, I am.
I feel like I should be doing tap dancing for the people who are going to be watching this on YouTube when we try to reconnect with him. I don't know how to tap dance. So I put on these shorts that I bought that are called bodybuilding shorts that I got in a 3-pack on Amazon 2 years ago. And like they cover less than my underwear does now.
I am back.
Oh, okay.
We got you.
That's weird. He says I'm back and then he disappeared.
He did disappear. Why did he disappear?
So it's like my glutes.
Stop disappearing.
My glutes grew so much that now these shorts are like cover less than the underwear.
All right, you guys there?
We got you now.
All right, cool. Dude, I had my I'm in my bathroom now, but my phone completely died.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. Oh, I thought it was our fault.
No.
You were frozen for like 10 seconds. I'm like, is he frozen? He's frozen. He's
Like,
frozen. Yeah, he's frozen. And then you left, and we'll just sitting here trying to call you to get you back. It's fine.
Oh, I got you.
We're good.
Yeah, so we were talking about the Arnold and
yeah,
I don't know, man. Hold on, let me move this phone. That Athleticon looks like a dope show, but I don't know the scheme. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do that and how it's gonna be judged and all that stuff.
Look, let me do this. All right, I'm like, it doesn't cost me anything to be like, hey, IFBB pro athletes, guess what? If you come do my show, you'll get national coverage on every major news network, and we'll give you $1 million in cash prizes.
Right.
That cost me nothing.
Oh, I know.
Actually doing it is an entirely different thing than saying
right. You can say you're going to do it all you want, but are you really going to do it?
Are they going to be? I know the prize money's like crazy, right? With the Athleticon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like, do you even know the prize money that they were talking about?
$1 million. But I also remember what Fauci said about the coronavirus, and it was a bunch of nonsense. It's like, and it was like, in order to disprove it, you'd have to be able to say, like, unicorns don't have rabies, Dr. Fauci, and then be like, did you catch a unicorn to prove it? And it's like, no, because unicorns aren't real. That's like basically what he was saying about the coronavirus. It was just did all these things that no virus has ever done.
Right.
It's some fictional nonsense that there's no way to prove he's wrong because the shit is so outlandish you can't prove it wrong.
And you can just listen to him circle the wagons and talk himself in circles over and over again.
And then
it doesn't matter.
Rand Paul pulls him up in the Senate committee and calls him a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. He couldn't back up a fucking thing. And it was like, why did it take you a year to do this, Rand Paul? Why didn't you do this last April?
Right.
And it's like the same thing with Athleticon. It's like, it's 3 years into it. Where the fuck is it?
Still don't see it. Yep.
Is it been 3 years since they announced that show?
Announced it originally, yeah.
It's like for 3 years you've been sowing dissent and putting doubt and a wedge between Mannion and his athletes. Okay, that's great, but where is it, Kai? I
wonder do you think that the IFBB doesn't want that show to go, or do you think they're supporting it?
I don't think you would want competition for the Olympia.
Yeah.
However, they would want bodybuilding to grow as a sport.
Yeah.
So the intelligent thing to do would be have The Rock and his Danny Garcia, contribute as sponsors to the Olympia to increase cash money and to increase national and international coverage.
Mm-hmm.
That would
be actually really
well. And I'm surprised that's not more the talking point on that is, hey, look, you're not going to get our athletes because we're going to suspend all of them, and then they're going to be left with nothing. But if you want to be part of the Olympia and you want to come on board as a chief sponsor of the Mr. Olympia, we'll give you a sanctioned IFBB show to go along with it somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can contribute to the prize money.
Which could be that's what it is. It's like, hey,
and that might be what they're just trying to do is
$5 million towards the Olympia, and we'll let you Athleticon, and we'll make it an IFBB sanctioned event. We'll make it year one. That would be fine, but you can't outprize the Olympia.
The Olympia.
Yeah.
The Olympia has to be the big ticket sell. And
nobody's going to want to do the Olympia if the prize money's way higher.
Right, with the Athleticon, they're going to put their money and effort towards the Athleticon, especially if it's got more coverage, which is going to cut into the Olympia, which is going to cut into the IFBB indirectly. So,
I feel like our sport, no matter how popular we are, how much people, like it gets more on Instagram and stuff like that, it's still never going to get the attraction that you would get out of an NFL, a sports center, like a league like NFL or NBA. We're never going to have that.
I disagree. I think in 50 years, bodybuilding is going to be more popular than basketball or baseball or football.
But damn it, we won't even be competing. we'll be
done.
We'll be dead.
But we're not going to be dead. We're going to be making money off of it as promoters and as supplement company owners, like Weider or Lorimer or Arnold. You just have to play your cards right. And like we talked about earlier, is you have to be nice to people. You can't just ignore them when they try to talk to you at the gym. You don't have enough fans to shit on your fans.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to treat the fans good because nobody gives a fuck about you compared to like LeBron James or Tiger Woods or some shit like that.
Right. Yeah, because nobody's getting paid, and where they could just be like, hey, treat people like shit, and they're still getting paid. We have to be very nice to everybody, even though I'm already naturally like that. But people that are not like that.
Well, you have to brand yourself.
Well,
you have to brand yourself. You're your own brand.
Encouraging you to continue doing what you're doing, just maybe minimize the amount.
Yeah.
You know, once you cool off or before you cool off, say, continue talking. I'm going to do this set.
Exactly.
And you leave your headphones off so you can hear them while you're doing your set.
Right. Or you can even, like, once you're done training and you're there and you have your post-workout stuff, just go up to them and say, hey, look, I saw you doing that machine. You know, I might want to hit it this kind of angle. Try it contracting it like this. And then just say, hey, you know, I'm a pro and this is who I am. I just wanted to let you know if you ever need any help anytime, just come holler at me if you're in the gym. You know, if I'm training, then maybe I'll talk to you right after. But you got to, you know, put yourself out there so people know you're not just there. You're just completely shut out of the world. It's my time. You know, you gotta show face.
So
usually I do the, hey, I'm training right now. Off season, I don't care, but for contest prep, I'm training right now and only have a short time to get this done. I'll answer any question you have or talk to you all you want after I'm done. Just let me be done for 20 minutes or something.
I've got like a weird approach to it. I'm like some creepy wizard, and I'll just be like, turn your toes out 20 degrees more.
Yeah.
And then they try it and they're like, oh my God. And they're like, you're welcome. And I'll walk away. That's all I say. I don't introduce myself for shit.
You're like the like right in their ear and they're like, what?
Yeah.
And they just walk off.
He floats away.
Yeah. But, who the hell's that?
But it's like my buddy Pete, who I went to high school with him, college and med school with him, right?
Right.
He says that every time he's in the sauna at the gym, people in the sauna will be talking about me, even though they don't know he knows me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, and they're like, no, it's always good. Like Todd showed me how to do this, and my rear delts have came up this much. It's like, really? Todd showed me how to do this, and my knee doesn't hurt. Oh, you know him? I didn't know you knew him. Like that kind of thing. So
that's cool though. I mean, at least they're not talking shit.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. Like he smells horrible, and it's like that's intentional.
Yeah.
But I don't bathe for days. You leave me the fuck alone.
Right. It's not working. They're still coming up to you.
Right. I mean, I noticed for the most part, like most of the people in the gym are pretty smart. Like they get it. Like we're there to, especially if you're training for national pro shows, they understand that's your time.
Right.
And if they do come up and they're trying to talk to you, they're most likely a beginner, and they really do need help. So you can just tell them like, hey, here's my number. If you want to be coached or if anything, let me know. Yeah. Here, like,
I think it has to do with the kind of atmosphere in the gym you're in too, right?
Well, it's
like if you're training at more of a corporate gym, you're going to get a lot more people that are going to come up and ask you questions because they just think that that's okay to do if they see you in there every day. And if you go to a gym like, say, like, like you're at the Dragon's Lair or I'm at Maximus Fitness in Grand Rapids, it's all competitors for the most part of there. They kind of know better. Hey, he's dieting for a show. They can tell. Right. They can tell when somebody's getting ready. Yeah, they'll just leave him alone. I'll talk to him later.
So
they're literally like, oh, he's 4 weeks out. Not even going that route.
Yeah. So at my gym, it's got 12,000 members, and it's got dual membership with Nova. And it's got 20,000 members. So between the two gyms, it's 32,000 members. And there's two people on the monitor all the time lifting. It's either me or Joe. We're the only two pros out of those 32 people. And then he's like, looks good. He's smiling. He's hitting poses. I'm like in sweats, and I look like an axe murderer, like in a
demon.
And what's funny is they closed all our schools, right? So the gym is full of high school students all day. And everybody hates these high school students, right? And I'm nice to them. I talk to them. I actually spend time helping them and shit. So
Yeah.
I didn't know this, but the high school students know each other and they talk. Right. So now all these high school students know who I am, and they rather than approach me, they defer. So like I walk up to use a machine and I drop my bag, like they're like, here you go, sir, and they walk away. They just
do you want this? Okay.
Let's talk.
And then I'll watch the machine later. Like I'll see it on my corner of my eye, and everyone's doing it the way I did it. So like the other day, I did 1-arm pec deck, and I do the 1-arm pec deck instead of 2-arm pec deck, because you've got one stack and 2 arms. Well, that means that one pec is doing more work than the other pec, and that balance to get bigger, and the other one isn't. So I found a way to wedge myself into that machine so that I don't have to be laterally displaced. I can just work one pec at a time, and that's my pre-exhaust before the incline Smith. And the rest of the workout for 3 hours, every dude I saw who used that machine did it 1 arm at a time.
See, there you go. You got to set the record straight and be like teaching these guys.
I didn't say
that's good.
I didn't say shit. I just did it. And then they're like, I'm going to do it the way Todd does it.
Well, they probably just don't know. And they're like, man, that does make sense. The way that guy was doing it. It looks like he really was working his left side of the chest, then his right side, So a lot of kids, they don't know anything about the gym.
Here's the secret though. It's easier 1 arm than 2 arm. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'm able to.
You're putting more leverage on that side, maybe push the weight.
I'm not sure, but I can do the whole stack for 20 reps with 1 arm
versus 2.
So it looks like I'm strong as fuck, and it's totally like a false. But it looks like I'm strong as fuck. So I'm doing the whole stack with 1 arm for 20 reps, and then they're on the machine next to you doing like 80 pounds or 60 pounds with 2 arms for 10 reps, and they're subtracting your delts. They're using more than just their pecs to do it. So it's like they're like, whoa, like that must be the secret, man.
No, I mean it definitely. I think that works though. Like doing it 1 arm sometimes, I feel it when I do it like that.
100%. People doing it in like a hamstring, right? They'll sit on the hamstring sideways and they'll press crossbody.
Yeah, same thing.
They'll get a better chest compression.
Right.
Well, what I do is I take the arm of the 1-arm pec deck and I push it out laterally till it hits the maximum range of motion the machine will allow.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm pushing against that limit so that I'm actually exerting force laterally, not just across. It's weird. And that allows more muscles to engage to stabilize it as it comes across.
Well, you got to realize your pec is side. It goes like that. Like
and also, if you look at normal pec, you end here, right?
Right.
The arm does this. So you're losing about 10 degrees of motion, which means you're losing that inner chest.
The inner pec, yep.
So to really get the inner chest, you want to do 1 arm and go crossbody, and then turn the other way and do 1 arm and crossbody.
That's the function of the pec anyway. The function of the pec is to bring your arm down and across your body.
Right, exactly. And then I do rear delts 1 arm at a time immediately after that.
Right.
Because I want to activate my upper back and my rhomboids and my lower traps so that I rotate my shoulders back so that my back is the thing that's worked when I do my presses. And whenever I work out with somebody, they try it that way, except I didn't let Keith do it that one time and he tore his shoulder. Everyone since Keith, we've been very careful with this. And they thought
they're welcome, by the way. Everybody's welcome.
Keith was my casualty. He was the first one over the hill.
It's still his fault too that happened.
Operation Overlord.
Completely rushed me through.
Oh my gosh.
Normally because he didn't really have a pre-exhaust before this for chest. I always pre-exhaust, and I'm like, I've got to get on a pec deck or a cable crossover, and I'm going to failure for like 3 working sets to get a pump, and then I'll start working through an incline press. So we do like 3 sets, but they're not even like full-fledged warm-up sets, and Todd is off running. He goes, oh, that's 3? Okay, and he takes off and grabs his bag, and he runs across the gym. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not even all right, well, I guess we'll just go. So I do like 1 extra warm-up set.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing is it was 365 on the incline, And I'm like into like rep 9 or 10 or something like that, and then my pec popped.
Oh my gosh!
But the best part is I did a back off set with 315 for 20 right after it. And then I'm like, oh, we're okay. And then we went over the dumbbells, and I think that's where I finished tearing it completely. Is when I laid back on a flat bench with the dumbbells. I got him to right here, and I felt it pop again, and I went, nope, and I just dropped him. I said,
you probably would have been fine if you would have just stopped when you felt it pop, and then you kept going and going and going and re-injured. You probably injured it more.
Oh, it was fine. Like by a month later, because I didn't fully tear everything, so after like a month, it had healed up enough to where I was good. So I just start reverse banding everything. And I was fine, and now I can. I mean, now I'm back to normal strength, and it doesn't bother me anymore.
Now you're doing 4 plates, so you are stronger,
right?
Yeah. But I will say that I heard warm up. I did not hear pre-exhaust, and that is why I warmed up, and you were trying to pre-exhaust, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Communication
didn't even give me a chance. I'm like, are you good? No, he goes, nope.
Communication.
He grabs his bag and he takes off.
Yeah, I was doing 3 sets of 60. Now I do 20 reps of 250.
Right.
So I'm literally doing like 9 times the weight.
Right.
And I'm doing twice the reps.
Yeah.
So real quick, I was just thinking. You said you're doing Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And then you're doing Universe in June or July?
It's July, 4th of July weekend.
Okay. So we all have shows like we're prepping already.
Well, I haven't started yet because I'm waiting for Justin to tell me to stop adding the dextrose. Like it's like when Vegeta and Goku start getting tired, then Piccolo throws off that weight off his ankles and his wrists, and they're fucked. And so that's basically what I'm thinking is like I've still got the dextrose, and it's just basically like having ankle weights and wrist weights.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, I forgot last time we talked, you work with Justin Harris.
Right.
You work with Justin Compton, and I work with Justin Miller.
Right. The 3 Justins.
The 3
Justins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Justin Harris, where is he out of? Ohio?
No, he's Grand Rapids. We're Kalamazoo, which is just south.
He's in Kalamazoo. Yeah, he
lives
like 40
Keith than me.
He lives like 40 minutes south.
What's his signature? I mean, I heard of it. Like he has a signature saying, is it like Fortitude or is it that?
Troponin Nutrition is the name of his company.
Okay, Tronopin.
Troponin. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen him online a couple times. He's strong himself, right?
Oh yeah,
insanely strong. He was by Hostile, which is Fuad's company.
Go look up Project Super Heavy.
Okay.
On Project Super Heavyweight on YouTube.
Oh my God,
that's him and a 20-year-old Steve Kuklo training in Detroit.
Yeah,
they made the whole video together when they were working with Dante Trudell.
Yeah.
Steve lived in Michigan.
They both lived in Detroit. They lived just lived by each other.
From Sterling Heights.
Yeah, Steve moved to Texas, like I think when he joined the fire department or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like 2009, maybe.
Yeah, that's when he kind of took off.
8 or 9. Yeah.
He was with Hani or somebody, I think.
He joined Hani and turned pro at the USA in 2011.
I remember that. He was like impressive. He was big back then.
Yeah.
Oh, you should see it. The video is hilarious because he's got a big chubby baby face. He's just a big kid. He's strong as an ox even back then.
Dude,
he's like 19 old. In that video.
I don't think he lifts like that anymore, but he's still strong. But he was
an ox.
He was strong back then. I remember when RX Muscle had him on there and stuff. That was like I was like inspired by that to be a bodybuilder too. But
yeah, that. I think they made that video in was it 05 or 06 that they made that?
It was
06. It was 06 because he was going to start getting ready for the US. Justin was going to be doing the USAs, and Harris. Steve was going to do the junior nationals.
Because did Harris used to compete, right?
He was. He won in Michigan back in 05.
Right, he's a big boy too. He's like 6 foot.
6'2", 280 now.
Yeah.
No, he's not 6'2". Jesus Christ, he's like 2 or 3 inches taller than me.
No,
He's about 5'10". He's about 5'10".
No, he's taller than
Yes. No, he's not.
He's got to be like Steve's height. Steve's like 6 foot.
Steve towers over him. Steve's taller than him.
Does he? Steve's
Text him and
tall.
ask him how tall. We have a debate. Keith says you're 5'10".
I think Steve Kuklo is one of the tallest guys on the Olympia stage.
He's tall dude.
I want to say
you're 6'1", right? Keith says you're only 5'8".
5'10".
Let's see how
5'10".
fast you know. I want to see if you respond quickly.
Say 5'9". Say 5'9". If he's 6'1", that's. I mean, if I was 6'1", I'd probably weigh like 300 something pounds easily.
It was funny. It was that year. It was funny because he won the Michigan as a heavyweight, and I think he only weighed like 210 or 215. Then he got on a year later. He got on the USA stage, and he was like 250 something.
Jesus.
And Kuklo was a small heavyweight, say like 200 pounds or whatever. And then he went to the junior nationals, and they that's when Justin was like, we knew he was going to be really good because he got on stage at the junior nationals. He was like 230 or 240.
Wow. And then he competes around. What does Steve compete around? Like 260?
Got you 260 or 270, I would think. Yeah.
He's a big guy. He's definitely.
Yeah. He's got a big frame, wide shoulders,
and he could still get bigger. He could still legitimately get bigger if he wanted to, because he's not even filling his frame out completely yet.
I would say his back. He still needs a bigger back, for sure.
More
his
thickness
legs
in
are
his
good.
back. Yeah, his legs are phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, if he legit could put another 10 pounds of muscle in his back, just in thickness alone, and he still wouldn't. It wouldn't even. I mean, it just would make him look better.
He didn't blow out his waist either. You notice?
He's got a really small waist. Yeah, he's got a great structure.
I mean, I tell a lot of if you want to legitimately gain 20 pounds of stage weight, you're gonna have to grow your waist. You're gonna have to put some of the weight somewhere, and it's gonna go to your waist. It's just it's gonna get a little bit wider, but you're gonna get bigger. But you're gonna have to suffer a little bit in your waist size. I don't think you can organically gain 20 pounds of stage weight without seeing a bigger waist.
I went from like a 150 stage weight with a 28-inch waist to a 168 stage weight with a 25.5-inch waist.
So you lost your waist.
Yes. Now, last year, I didn't work my waist as hard, nor was I as lean.
Right.
My waist was 26.5. So I don't think I gained an inch of muscle. I think I was 7%, not 5%. And I think that is why my waist was bigger.
Wait, your waist is at 26 inches?
It was 26 last year at 176. Yeah.
What's your waist, Keith?
I can get it down about 29 and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
So I'm wearing 34s right now, and they're loose.
I was wearing a women's small waist. Women's small waist cincher all off season. The exact same setting that I had it pre-contest. I had all off season during training. I don't wear it on back day because I can't get a lat pump because it's too tight.
Do you wear that? Oh wait, you wear it all day.
You know those videos where I'm squatting 500?
Yeah,
I've got a women's small squeam on under the shirt.
Is that the one where you clip it on in the back?
No. There ain't no clip.
Or whatever. It
ties it up and pulls it. It's a squeam. Really? It's supposed to. Yeah. It's a squeeze me. Isn't that squeeze me skinny or whatever the one you're using?
One brand. But you don't buy them actually.
I feel like that would make me feel sick.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does.
Oh, just wearing a belt too tight bothers me.
So
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it clips. Those
you
clip
each one of these.
Yep.
And this one is
extra small.
No, this one's a small, but this is a men's small. So you go from a men's small to a women's medium to a women's small, and then I was just about into a women's extra small.
Holy shit.
And now Squeeze Me, I switched to a new brand, and they have 4XL, XS, and it's so truncated, it's almost like a belt. So I'm gonna look so fucking gross.
Do you feel like it works? Like it shrinks your waist?
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Especially when you wear it all day.
How much time do you have to have that to actually see results?
3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I'll do vacuums too. I don't do just that. I mean, I'll do vacuums too.
Yeah.
And then, like my posing coach has different vacuums that are a way of training vacuums with the poses. And he calls it like posing yoga. So there's like posing yoga routines you do every day to decrease your waist size and prepare yourself for your posing. Then you do posing. So posing is as much of a, because, you know, like, okay, so everyone looks at it like there's lifting, cardio, and posing, like there's a triangle. But like, what's his name? Antoine Vaillant says it's not, it's a square. There's 4 legs of the table. The 4th leg is yoga. The thing is yoga is focused on Hindi religion and spiritual growth, right?
Right.
So not that that's a bad thing, but that ain't as specific for what we're trying to do.
Right.
So Quentin actually designed a form of posing yoga that's specific just for posing. So does
he have like an Instagram where I could check it out? I want to see what the posing is.
Dread. I'm just gonna send you.
Text it to me.
I'm gonna text it to you exactly.
Yeah. Because I honestly feel like if I do yoga or even stretching in the morning before I do my check-ins and posing, I'm completely loose. I'm not breathing as hard. And I'm more fluid into the posing. But if I just wake up, drink coffee, all right, let's do check-in photos, I feel I just feel so rigid. You know, like I'm not loose. I feel like you have to be loose and feel the posing.
I like to do it after cardio. I got a little bit of a blood pump. I get just the blood's moving around. The stale air's out of you, and you know.
Well, because like when you go to prejudge, right? You're sitting there for hours, and then you stand up and you're like, you know, you're all like stiff from laying down, and then they're like, all right, you guys are on in 10 minutes, and you just start pumping up, and you start hitting poses, and you're like stiff, you know, and then you get on stage and you're like really. That's why it takes me an hour. I like literally stretch, and I start hitting around a little bit backstage.
What I do is I take a hot bath every day, and I do my stretches for my hamstrings and my hips in the bath water. So I have a small bathtub in the bath. I have a small bathtub too. Luckily, I'm tiny, so it just works out.
You can just
it works out okay.
Leg up in the air.
Todd can swim in his tub.
I can do hide and seek under the kitchen sink. It doesn't matter.
I do it in the shower.
Thing that,
Power of the leprechaun.
Yeah. Do you see that thing that Jay uses in the morning? It's like you put your leg, you sit on it, and it stretches your legs out, and it's like a little. He rotates it, and he cranks his legs like literally. It's like an abductor, and it stretches your legs.
Stretches you out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those because that's where I think I'm so unflexible now that I got bigger. I can't. I need to just be loose. Like my mobility sucks.
So I do that on my leg day, even my quad day. Before I do my leg presses and before I do my squats, what I do is I use the adductor machine and I do ART on it. So I'll do 10 reps, stretch for 30 seconds, 10 reps, stretch for 30 seconds. And every time I'll crank it wider so it stretches out more. That makes it easier for me to go deeper
in the squat.
Press and the squat.
Yeah, because your more mobility is available to. Because I think what Stan Efforting was saying, if you can get a deeper range of motion, and with heavy weight, they're gonna grow more muscle.
Right, which is weird because everyone's like, "Oh, go to parallel." I'm like, "Why are you half repping it?" They're like, "Well, your quads don't need any more." I'm like, "Well, your quads are going to respond to the most amount of knee flexion, but you're not. It's not a quad competition; it's a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah,
so your adductors, your hamstrings, and your glutes are also muscles. And why don't you just grow all of them rather than having 100 specific exercises? Why don't you just do squats and leg press right?
I've done squats. Every time I've done squats since I was 13, like I go down to the floor almost. I mean, I go deep with heavy weight, and my legs have been crazy since I was a kid. So I think if you do that full range of motion, you're cheating yourself if you don't do that, and you're just going halfway. But I get it. If you can't go the full way, then just do another movement where you can get a full range of motion.
But it's like, why take what you can't? You know, it's like, well, that's not what your body allows you to do. It's like, well, fuck my body. I'm going to force it to allow me to do what the fuck I want it to do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do calves first so that I loosen up my ankles to get ankle mobility. I'm going to do adductors first so I can loosen up my hips to get hip mobility.
Yep.
You know, I'm going to pre-exhaust my lateral quads so that I feel my lateral quads when I push laterally on the squat. Right. It's really, everything is just a warm-up. It's 2 hours of warm-up to squat.
Well, the problem is that when you're in your 20s, we're all older, so we understand injury prevention and also pre-exhausting the muscle before you get to that muscle. But when you're in your 20s and you're on your first cycle, you're not like, hey guys,
straight to the squat rack.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pre-exhaust this on leg curls for an hour. I'm gonna hit the fucking squats and I'm going right to leg press, and then I'll hit leg extensions to finish it. You know,
sure.
Like, you don't think about injuries or any of that. You know, let me warm up. You know, you're ready to roll.
Unfortunately, you don't think about injuries until you actually get one.
Exactly.
Or a scare. Like, you know, I've had minor pulls that I take everything very seriously because I know I'm one major tear away from retirement.
If you get a tear at this age, you're looking at a year for recovery. And then to build your body back up to where you were at, that's another 6 to 8 months. And then to get it back to the stage ready, that's another 5-6 months of prep. That's 2 years.
Unless you're Branch Warren.
He falls off a horse and wins the Arnold.
I'm talking about when he tore his quad off the bone at the Applebee's. But
yeah. But then he win the Arnold that year?
Yeah, that's my
the next year. The next year. Came back.
And he got second at the Olympia to Jake Cutler. I mean, but he trains like I mean, he's a psycho like animal. He does just everything to failure. And I
don't know how he has joints left. I really don't know how he has any joints left.
I don't understand it, dude.
The way he explains it is he understands it looks wrong, but he feels it where he's supposed to feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that when you train like that, yes, you can grow the muscle, but if you're not equally doing the stretching or the yoga, then it makes the muscle so tight and immobile that if you move it outside of its normal mobility range of motion, it'll snap.
Yep.
I mean, he's like trained the same since he was in his 20s. He does 1,000,000 reps, and it's like go, 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 go every set. And it's like nonstop sets after sets. It's crazy. He does that.
No.
He does that in 100 degrees.
I was going to say
100 degrees.
It's over 100 degrees in there. There's no way.
I think he still trains that hard, like now.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think
I don't see why he would stop.
I don't know,
because he doesn't he's smart enough to say, I don't deadlift.
Yeah.
He does paper extensions with a 100-pound barbell, but he doesn't deadlift.
Right. He does still squat.
He squats, but he safety squats.
Oh, he does?
And he's only doing like 8 reps.
Yeah.
And he does leg extensions to failure, pre-exhaust with 4 reps. Then he does leg presses. Then he does safety squats.
If we train with him now, we would be gassed halfway through the training.
He'd still bury me. It wouldn't matter.
I know he would. But I mean, even though he looks wild and crazy when he trains, there's a lot of methodology to the organization of the exercises.
Oh, yeah.
It's not pre-planning it probably. Yeah.
It's not wild, it's not crazy, and it's not mindless. It's just so intense, it looks insane.
Well, you're thinking he's just going from here to there to there to there. He probably planned the workout, what he's going to do, and then he executes like crazy. You know, like, we would I think he's just go, 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 but he feels exactly what he's training. So he's not just picking random shit. He knows it's work, you know.
He knows exactly what he's going to do, in what order, why he's doing it. And it's just a lot of intensity, a lot of reps, and a lot of volume. That's what it is.
Nobody talks that fast and is dumb. Yeah. You know, and he doesn't say like or either. I mean, someone who talks as fast as Ben Shapiro and doesn't miss a beat, they're smart as fuck.
Yeah. Right. Well, the thing is like the guys that train now, there's a lot of like exercise selection and, you know, getting to that one working set, which is fine. it's just there's a lot more. Like I think we just kind of think about it a lot. Back then, I feel like they just kind of went off of feel, and they just basically trained how they felt. Now it's a lot of, like pre-planning. Okay, 2 warm-ups to the final set. Back then they didn't really count shit. They just went. They just did it.
I'm good with these now. I'm gonna move on to the next one.
You start at 100, you go to failure. You go to 120, you go to failure. You go to 140, you go to failure. You go to 180, you go to failure. You go to 200, you go to failure.
Oh, failure.
Once you can't get 6 reps, you're done. You move on to the next station.
Yep.
And I think how we used to train 10 years ago.
But I think a lot of guys that train like that back then, that's why you're seeing a lot of guys with like hip injuries and all these injuries, because they might, and I don't think it's overtraining, but they are not training like the guys now. I feel like they're doing tons of weight, but they're not training as many reps and as hard as they were back then.
Yeah, the Jordan Peters approach, which is you do 5 reps, 3 reps, 1 rep, 10 reps, and break up the other.
Yeah.
You look at Jordan Peters' physique versus everyone else's, and he thinks he looks like shit, but I think he makes the Hulk look like shit.
Didn't he retire?
He retired because he's concerned about his health.
Yeah. Do you think he was doing too much gear?
I know that he at one point did 6,000 tests in a week.
Oh, like testosterone?
Yeah, like he tried.
What? He was 6 grams a week?
Yeah, he experimented.
Wow, that's 3 bottles.
He said it didn't work.
That's a gram a day.
He said he got nothing out of
it. That's a gram a day.
He said he got nothing out of it. He said that you get the upper limit of efficacy was around 1,000 to 1,200 tests, and anything beyond 1,200 tests was pointless.
Oh, so
he did it for a reason. He did it to see what am I missing, and he wasn't missing shit.
Did he get any results from that?
I mean, he's got. I think he makes 400,000 a month from his website.
Oh, his clothing.
So he got good results that way.
Yeah,
money.
Yeah.
Because he got, and you're an experimenter and you're a scientist and you're your own Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and you have the #1 website in the world.
Yeah, he's popular.
If you keep coming up with good content, people keep signing with you, then you're going to make money. He doesn't need to compete. He'll never make as much in a career as he does in one goddamn month off of his website.
The thing is he doesn't need to compete. He makes more money now than he would competing. It's just for fun.
Doesn't mean he has to quit either. He's just not going to compete.
Yeah.
That's 5 cc's of cypionate a day.
No. It's 10 because it's a bottle a day.
Well, I mean, if it's 100 milligrams, if it was 200 milligrams, it'd be 5 cc's. It's 5 cc's a day.
But
it's a half a bottle a day of cypionate, of test cypionate. If that's what you're, or an enthate.
I would feel so sick off of that.
I would. At that point, your immune system's attacking the molecule, thinking it's a foreign invader.
Well,
I get like that if my
falling asleep.
If my DECA gets up to 1,400, I feel like I've got a cold or a flu all the time.
1,400 a week or a day?
1,400 a week.
Okay, so that's 200 a day.
Yeah.
Todd doesn't use any tests.
I've used this.
I remember
1,400 DECA, and I started feeling sick on that. And then what I did is I swapped that for Tren at 1-for-1 ratio, and I found the sweet spot was 100 DECA, 100 Tren a day. And then when I got up to 200 Tren a day, you'd think you get angrier. I think the rage is just you just forget that you're even angry around.
You're on so much nanologous.
Around 50 a day, you're so angry that by the time you're at 100 a day, 150 a day, 200 a day, you don't even fucking notice anger anymore.
How was your strength on that? Was it crazy?
I think I did 900 on the hack squat 3 weeks out.
Damn.
For like 5 reps, and then did 500 on the squat after I did 1,400 on the leg press. And that was 3 hours into the workout. Like I was at the gym. Was that
because you had all the DECA in you because your body had
at that point there was no more DECA. I was just Tren.
Oh, just Tren.
There was just Tren, Winstrol at that point, and I used nothing else. And GH. And I was strong as fuck. But when I went back down to 100 NPP and 100 Tren, I got stronger. So I found that the sweet spot for me when I was maximal performance was June 28th and September 25th. And by those points is when I was doing the 1-for-1 ratio of NPP and tren. And that
sounds fun.
and I was at 37.5 T3. I felt that once I went over 37.5 T3, I actually felt more tired. I think what happened was it shut off T4 production.
Yeah, at that point it does.
Do you use T4 at all?
No.
I don't either. No.
I thought that I used too much T3 and I shut off production, and my temperature went down from 97.6 to 97.0, and in order to get it back up to 98, I had to take 62.5 T3.
Now, because when you shut your temperature down, don't you have to eat more carbs? Because that means you need more carbs.
I was still at 200 carbs. I don't think I ever dropped below 200 carbs at whole prep.
That's not bad. 200, I feel it's weird because like 200 now, I feel like it's a low day, and like today I did 50, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm talking right now. I'm on Clen and all this shit.
That's why.
Well, it's good because it's like taking my mind off food.
Sure, absolutely.
Once I get off the phone, I'm going to be like,
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all mental. You know how it is. Like, you tell yourself you're at 50, but are you really hungry?
If you can stay busy, I found this out. If I can stay busy on those low carb days and low calorie days, I will be fine as long as I stay busy. It's when I'm sitting around thinking about my next fucking meal and you're like, I can't eat for another hour. I can't eat for another 35 minutes. You know, minimum you're thinking it's only been a couple hours. I got to wait to eat because if I get all this food in too early, now I'll be sitting around at the end of the night not being able to sleep because you know
You know what I figured
the trend hits me and I can't go to sleep.
I was listening to John's thing, Jewett, and he was saying on your off days and you're on low carbs because you're off, wait till do your cardio and then do don't eat until around 12 noon.
Yeah.
Because then when you start eating, you're only going to have 6 meals, but you can get more in. You're not
in a short period of time.
The 3-hour gap.
I always do that intermittent fasting shit on most of those days.
Yeah,
that
because
I get all my calories in before and after I train. And on the days that I don't train, I try to wait for my first meal as long as I can.
That's perfect.
I'm getting an IM effect out of it because you're not building fucking muscle if you're hungry, you're not building muscle.
No.
So fuck it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about preserving muscle. You're on enough tren and Winstrol. You're not going to lose muscle.
And
because the Winstrol is preventing the cortisol from leaving the adrenal gland, and the tren preventing the what cortisol does get out from binding to the muscle cells.
Right.
So there's no way you're going to go into gluconeogenesis. One thing I've noticed is you'll sit down and you can't get up again. You're just so tired.
Yeah.
You can't move. Or you'll turn the keys off in your car and you'll open the door and you got one leg out, but you can't put the weight.
You can't pull two.
And I'm like, this is the point where my body has ran out of available carbohydrates.
It's true.
And my body cannot make more through gluconeogenesis because I've manually shut that shit off with Winstrol.
Now, how much do you think, like, when you get to that point, how far do you push it, do you think?
Well, that's like the thing is once I'm that tired, I wait until it's time to go to the gym. I take my Anavar. For some reason, Anavar makes me angry. And I take my pre-workout. And I take my Wrath, which is the diet pill I designed. And that psychological stimulation from the caffeine will push me through. And then I also will only listen to the metal because I'm at the gym. So I have the like that type of trigger, and I've got a biological trigger, and that Melu will be enough to carry me through the workout. And then I have to shut that shit down.
Yeah.
And shut that shit down while I'm on the cardio. I'll either watch a television show that I save for cardio. Like it's a really good show that I love and I hang on it every minute. I only watch that while I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And that was done.
You do any intra like EAAs and all that shit?
I have an intra product I designed called Battle Mead, and it's got glucose disposal agents in there. It's
cool.
got a little bit of carbohydrates. It's got some sea salt in there. It's got taurine to combat the clenbuterol, and it's got some creatine in there so you can stay fuller while you train.
Yeah, because that'll fill you up a little bit you know, it'll fuel you for that workout.
But it's not like other people's intras, because all their intras are EAAs
and carbs,
carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And this is the opposite. This is, I want to make my pre-workout meal more efficiently absorbed and utilized for this training session mid-workout.
Yeah. Well, because you have the glucose disposals in there to digest it, and it's going to the muscle cell and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, it's like cinnamon and RALA, and it's vandyl sulfate, and it's isoleucine. And then the post-workout is leucine and actual sucrose rather than dextrose, because you absorb it fast, or it's the other way around. So you get your insulin response post.
Right.
And the insulin will activate AKT pathways. The leucine activates the mTOR pathways. So we've got double triggering of muscle synthesis, which means we've got double stomping out of the catabolism. Plus, RAF has HMB in it, so it prevented catabolism in the first place. So I designed the products all around what I want to take when I get ready for a show, so that anybody can use it. It's like most supplement companies before Redcon, they were like, they hire a professional bodybuilder to promote the line, but the professional bodybuilder would never fucking touch the line. Yeah. So with Redcon, and basically before there was Redcon, I actually had my company. The idea was it's an actual supplement line by a pro bodybuilder for pro bodybuilders.
That's cool. Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't appeal to the mainstream, but I've noticed that the culture is shifted towards meritocracy and fitness, and it's gotten away from the housewife who buys protein powder at Costco.
Well, everybody that competes now is either bikini wellness, bodybuilder classic, and they want that edge, you know, to look like that, and that's where these products are better, because they're not going to go to GNC anymore and buy this stuff off the shelf, which, you know, has proprietary blends with, you know, 2.002 of taurine. There's nothing in there. It's like all fillers.
So we got like Rich started that kind of movement, that rebellion, and I had a Rich Piana.
Oh, Piana, yeah.
Yeah, and I had already started doing this stuff with a previous company, but I wasn't popular, right? So the whole movement, though, has moved towards like having performance-based shit that the actual athletes would use. And now the new generation of bodybuilders actually do use supplements all the way up to the show and possibly backstage to pump up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Gaspari, really, you were right when you said Gaspari. Gaspari was quality shit you could fucking use.
I remember that. Yeah.
But they didn't market towards actual bodybuilders.
No, it was the mainstream.
It was mainstream marketing. So the actual bodybuilding community didn't trust it.
Remember BSN explode? NO explode?
Yeah.
It really did explode too.
Fucking worked. Dude, I gained like 20 pounds of water weight, but it shit was strong.
Yeah. First time I ever used it, I shook it up when it said don't shake it up because it's got the effervescence in it, and that shit exploded and hit the roof of the.
Dude, that stuff like
Karr, and I'm like,
it had like pro hormones in it. It was so good. I was like,
it probably did when it first came out, because most of those companies were putting 1,4 androstenedione in most of their shit.
Gaspari had a product. Dude, Gaspari, remember that one pill? It was Halodrol, and it was a pill, and it was like, dude, I gained like, I don't know, I got over 200 pounds with that. I was like, man, this stuff, dude, this stuff works. It was like a straight, like you said, that whatever that androstenedione was in there. It was.
They were all. It was all 1 androstenedione or 1,4 androstenedione for most of them and stuff. So you had like, it was like it was oral boldenone, and I want to say it was like fucking Anadrol.
Damn.
It's what you were running.
It was more like Primo.
Primo,
more like a pro hormone to Primo, and 1,4 andro would be a pro hormone to boldenone. Which is basically 25% conversion to Primo.
Yeah.
Or it could have had somebody was saying it had Superdrol. Some of them had Superdrol.
Superdrol came out when it was actually Superdrol. It was a company called Anabolic Extreme that first made it, and that's oral Masteron is what it is.
It's it's dimethylmasteron.
Right.
I'm using it right now. I love it.
It's fucking that was one of my favorite ones, because you get all the strength gains that you get with fucking Anadrol without all the water retention.
So
No, you get water retention intramuscular, not extracellular.
Right.
He activates the ability of the water to leave the muscle once it enters the muscle.
Now, can you take that? Do you think can you take that during like a peak week? Would you spill over?
I actually was planning on experimenting with it this prep because I know that if I overdo it, it kills my appetite. So I have to use only about 10 milligrams a day.
10 milligrams a day.
Well, I would take it at night, so you're not starving at night, and
what
you're getting anabolic effect at night.
Even though it's a DHT molecule, it has a 400 anabolic and a 0 androgenic rate. Although its metabolites have to be androgenic because I have pimples. So what I've been doing is I've been doing 8 drops in the morning, which is about like 5 milligrams, and I'll do 8 drops before I go to the gym. So and I've got a 16-hour window of maximum anabolic effect. And then I also do 12.5 Anavar in the morning and 12.5 Anavar before I train.
Do you feel this super draw?
I feel that the super draw with the insulin and the IGF-1 has a much more intramuscular water retention. If I use 2 of the 3 of them, I don't notice a huge deal. But if I use all 3 of them and I time them right, like if I use Humulin when I wake up with 2 units of Humalog and the super draw, then pre-lift, I take the super draw 10 milligrams. Then intra lift, I do 3 units of insulin with 100 units of IGF-1 DES. Then my pumps will be so insane, I might have to switch body.
Yeah. So do you go in there with like a fanny and you have to go to the bathroom and shoot that insulin? Like
I don't do it on the gym floor, that's for sure.
Yeah.
and then I
go to the bathroom.
Don't mind me.
Yeah. And a lot of times I get really hypo while I'm training, and I found that regular Gatorade works better than even pharmaceutical grade dextrose for pulling you out of a hypoglycemic crisis in an emergency mid-training.
Gatorade and always Vitargo, I've always noticed, were always good for some reason.
So I get weak and I start flattening out, and I don't feel like training, and the song I'm listening to isn't good anymore. That's the first clue. Then when I start, I have like this neon rainbow out of my left eye, and I lose vision out of my right eye. That's when I'm really in deep shit. And when I can't respond to text messages because I can't see my screen, even though I'm holding it right up to my face, then I know that it's an emergency.
You're done at that point.
Yeah, 5 grams is enough to pull me out of that phase.
You know what you should do is carry
all of it.
What works really good is glucose tablets or the glucose, you get at CVS.
Right. I just have, because glucose and dextrose are the same thing. It's just called glucose when it's in your bloodstream. It's called dextrose when it's a powder. So I have the actual tiny container in the gym bag with a scooper.
Right. There's my son.
Oh, hey, what's up?
So you want to see him? Here, look. Come here. Hold on. Let me get him real quick. There he is.
Hey, buddy.
He's got his Blippy.
Blippy? Yeah, Blippy. I know Blippy. I got
you guys watch that too? He loves Blippy.
My boys are 5 and 3.5, so they love.
So you're right.
They love Blippy. Yeah.
That guy is so
funny. He's weird, but he's funny.
A goofball. I'm like, this guy's pedophile, but
I have no idea what it is with him, but that my kids can be acting like complete jerks, and if I put Blippy on, 30 seconds later, this is them.
Right.
And they're zoned in on him. And I'm like, oh, that worked. We're good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he's due almost ready for a meal here, this kid.
Okay.
He'll literally try to turn my phone off. And while I'm on the phone, I'm like, well, always.
We can let you go. I don't want the kid being hungry now.
We've had you for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I've had you for 2 hours and 40 minutes now, so.
Oh, we could talk for hours. I know.
I know.
You got to eat. I got to eat. But
I do have to eat soon.
Let's do I think I'm 5 weeks out. Let's do 3 weeks out.
Okay. All right. I'm totally down for that. I was hoping you'd say something like that.
Yeah, I'd like to do it 3 weeks out, and then we can go over our game plan.
Yeah, we can see what's different.
Will be 3 weeks out, and I'll be 14 weeks out.
Yeah, we'll be depleted.
Yeah,
we'll be hungry the whole interview.
In 3 weeks, I'll be at about 8.5, 9 weeks out somewhere.
Yeah, you'll definitely.
I'll be starting to feel it at that point.
Yeah. So, just hit me up whenever you guys want to do it, man. I'm down.
No problem. Definitely.
All right,
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'll see you guys.
man.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.